You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. I'm talking to you, dumb fan. Miller and Moulton on this Thursday, the Sweet 16 getting underway tonight. And I thought I heard something yesterday, Mark, that says the Miami Dolphins now are the owners of Tyreek Hill.
Wow. How about that? You know, we're sitting there talking about if one of these, yesterday we have guests not talking, if one of these receivers falls to 29, one of them fell to 29, he's Tyreek Hill.
I don't know if he fell. I think they went up and they just grabbed him. Get over here. Wow. It sounds exciting. Does it change things?
I think it does for a lot of reasons. The fact that we have a poll question up before the show started about Tyreek Hill means that you and I think things have changed a little bit.
It feels different. It does. Be honest. If it was a different team, you'd be more excited about it. Deep down, you just think they'll screw it up because, well, they haven't done much in the last 20 years.
I've never felt anything like this before in my young Dolphin fanhood.
Are you sure? Are you sure when they drafted Tua you didn't feel this way?
Not even close. First of all, I didn't even want Tua. I wanted Justin Herbert.
You did?
Of course.
Really?
Yes.
Really? Six people said that before it happened.
I know.
I don't even believe you.
Really? You don't believe me? I wanted Justin Herbert so bad. Well, first of all, Mario Cristobal was the coach of Oregon at the time, so I kind of had a little bias.
And a little.
I also hated Alabama.
Okay, then that's fair enough.
And you were one of the six who beforehand said that. Everybody
now
after can say it.
It's 6 million.
It was tank for Tua.
Yeah, it's all the people that said they voted for McGovern in 72. I didn't vote for Nixon when he was getting impeached 2 years. I didn't vote for this guy. Well, that's funny. He won like 48 states, but all right. Sure.
But real quick, my point is that in the last 20 years, the Dolphins haven't had they've only had one big signing that has been noticeable by the national media limelight, and that's Ndamukong Suh. This is the first time that the Dolphins are getting this much it almost makes me nervous.
It should.
It does make me nervous.
It should, because they're still in the division with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, but they got to get into the playoffs first. And as we saw last year, if you get in, I mean, the Niners just got in, literally in overtime of the second to last game of the regular season, and they had a fourth quarter lead in the NFC Championship game. They were this close to getting to the big game. The Bengals were a 4 seed and came this close to winning the whole thing. I mean, we all acknowledge now that this league, if you get in the tournament, you got a real shot. A real shot. I mean, of the 14 teams that made it last year, there was one, maybe two that were like, man, this would shock me. Like if the Eagles got to the Super Bowl.
Cincinnati got to the Super Bowl. That would have shocked me. I mean, after barely beating the Raiders, a game they maybe shouldn't even have won, if they would have gotten to the Super Bowl, that would have shocked me.
Right. Going on the road, winning a couple games against the 1 and the 2 seeds. Right. Hadn't won a road playoff game in like any of our lifetimes. Right. That would have been shocking.
Right.
So.
And that is the answer you give people.
Right.
You don't talk about if this team, if that team. You simply just say, if the Cincinnati Bengals would have. Oh, wait a minute. They did.
Yeah. It's a different day and age, folks. Quarterbacks are getting traded. In fact, go back to a question we asked a week, 10 days ago. How many truly untradeable guys are there in this league? And you at the time said 50. And I went, oh, no. We're down to less than one guy per team on average. And every day that goes by, I think you got to be knocking about 5 off your number.
Well, I still think it's over 30.
Yeah, I think it's like less than 10. I think it's like Brady and Mahomes at this point. Burrow, Herbert. I don't know how many more you really have. I'll give you 2 handfuls, but I don't think it's any more than that. Because this is a game changer for Kansas City. I mean, that's the other side of it. All right. It's not that they're not going to be able to win games because they're still very talented. I mean, Mahomes and Kelsey alone could probably get them 10 wins on their own. I jest, but you get the point. But the Chiefs have been above everybody else for the last 2-3 years. They were pretty even with the Patriots 4 years ago. Obviously, the AFC title game went overtime. But, they had something that nobody else had. And that trifecta of Mahomes, Kelsey, and Tyreek Hill at the end of the day. I mean, let's just go back to the Buffalo playoff game. Let's just say that thing happens again this year. Without having a Tyreek Hill on your team, do you think they can gain 40 yards in 13 seconds and get in field goal range?
I don't.
No. They're a different team now. They're no longer, I don't know if it's head and shoulders, but shoulders or head above the rest of the conference. They're not anymore. And quite frankly, now they're really within reach with the rest of that division.
Well, that's the first part of this. Because, as you said, it's about making the playoffs.
Right.
Well, how much closer did the Chargers, who added a pass rusher, the best safety out there, and was already a pretty good team, re-signed their receiver? How good are they right now? How much closer are they? The Raiders obviously have made some moves. They're a different team than they were a year ago. They're closer. The Broncos are obviously much closer. That has even got us talking about where the Bills are in comparison to the Chiefs.
Right.
Just realizing in their division now.
Right. Colts with an upgrade at quarterback, and we expect them to make a significant upgrade at receiver somehow, some way coming up. And the Colts not a playoff team. Dolphins not a playoff team. Denver was not a playoff team.
Yeah, Broncos and
Chargers were not playoff teams. Right. So, but to what Felipe alluded to, which is if you're a Dolph fan, is this the most exciting off-season moment since the acquisition of Ricky Williams?
Ooh.
Because if you remember, Wannstedt's the coach. They've gone to the playoffs in back-to-back years. They've won double-digit games both years. And then they acquire Ricky Williams. They think they're a player away. They think they just need to upgrade that offense. They've got Zach. They've got Jason Taylor. They got the 2 shutdown corners. They think they're really close. The Patriots have just won the Super Bowl, and they're looking across at New England going, I don't know how much better you guys are than us. I mean, the records were similar. They were a game apart in the standings that year. Miami's looking across at New England thinking, well, they got a pedestrian quarterback. They don't have great receivers. They got a really good defense. Well, so do we. Not going to take much here. We can leapfrog this thing. Pittsburgh doesn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback yet. We can keep going down. The Raiders are old. All right. I mean, Dolphins thought they were right there when they got Ricky.
And now you look at this Dolphin team who's fortified the running game, finally. They got Gesicki on the tag. They got Waddle at receiver, and now they added Hill. Added 2 linemen already.
I mean, you tell me how you're going to cover them. Hill on one side, Waddle on the other. They're going to line Gesicki up either tight or in the slot next to either Hill or Waddle. I mean, we watched it for the last 2 years. I mean, the Chiefs have not had a number 2 wide receiver worth a damn that teams have played any sort of coverage towards. I mean, when they needed to complete a pass, they ran the simplest route you could imagine. They lined Hill and Kelsey up next to one another. Well, you can't man up on those guys. I mean, you don't have anybody who can cover either one. So that dictates zone right there. And one guy clears out and the other guy runs a cross or a curl underneath. One of the two's open every single time. 3rd and 9. Oh, we really got Mahomes where we want him now. They run the simple fit. Boom. Completion. First down. Move the chains. 2 years.
It was why you look at what the Chargers add on defense. They get back because they've already got Bosa. It's like, okay, Might not be able to stop you 3rd and 9 with our linebackers and our defensive backs, but we're going to be in your kitchen in 2 seconds.
And now, granted, it's only March 24th. I mean, who knows who the Chiefs could acquire by March 25th with the way this league's going right now. But
they ain't acquiring a 4-2 skill guy with pick 29.
They're not acquiring Tyreek Hill tomorrow. I can assure you of that.
For all of you in the drafts, the Dolphins gave up a 1st and a 2nd for Tyreek Hill. For all, I know there's 2 4ths and a 6th involved. I get it. Maybe one guy that would have made the team. Maybe 2 if you did a really good job with your 4ths.
Yeah.
In today's day and age, but both 4ths might make the team as special teams guys, etc.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
You just got Tyreek Hill.
And what were you? You were okay. You were decent. At times you were pretty good. In the AFC, how far was that going to get you? Now I know they're the Dolphins, and because of that helmet, you're like, come on, they don't win anything.
But for those of you that don't like Tua, he's incredibly accurate. All you have to do is get the ball in this man's hands.
We're a new team. Or not we. Damn. I ripped the we right off.
That's like 5 this morning.
Gosh.
You had one off air.
I'm never this excited about the Dolphins. There's not much to be excited about.
Now there is.
Finally.
Now there is. You at least enter every game thinking, well, we've got some firepower. I mean, if we got to score 30 today, in theory we can. Let's go.
Just added a tackle, a guard. I mean, you should have some protection for Tua now.
I mean, Devontae Parker's at best your 4th wideout. Not bad for a former number 1 pick. So maybe little something going on here. That'd be nice. Miller and Moulton. We will unveil the poll question on the other side, but yes, it was done at 5:54 a.m.
A new record on this show. And it's not close.
That's how big this Tyreek Hill deal is. The Dolphins become contenders, or do they?
Contenders? Did you say contenders?
I did. We'll debate that next. Top of the morning to you, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
They said there are 7 teams that have multiple first-round picks. I only have 6.
Detroit's got 2.
Oh, Detroit.
Detroit, Kansas City, Philadelphia, Giants.
Yeah, 2 and 32. Yeah, it's Giants, Jets, Eagles, Houston, Green Bay, Kansas City, Detroit. How about that, by the way? 7 teams with multiple first-round picks. One of them with 3.
Is going to be a shit show, David.
It's going to be amazing.
Well, that's what I meant by it.
Yes. Well, August, in a way, he's under more pressure because he has to deliver. But then again, how much easier did his job just get? They're significantly upgrading his offensive line. They're upgrading his running game. And they just added Tyreek Hill to the receiving corps and Cedric Wilson, quite frankly, as a number 3 receiver.
I think they'll have to cut Parker because I don't think they could trade him for anything.
Well, Dolphins rule, I agree. You just wonder with the Armstead and Hill signings for a number 4 wide receiver, will they need the cap room? I mean, what's his cap hit this year? But man, oh man. Man, oh man.
It's $5 million dead cap money. He's getting paid almost $9 million.
So if they got rid of him, it'll cost them $5 million.
If I'm reading that right, I get confused when I get into that crap.
Oh, just it's.
At least I'm not the only one.
I don't want to say it's confusing, but oh man. You realize 4 of the top 5 teams in the draft have multiple first-round picks.
Bless you.
Detroit at 2, Houston at 3, Jets at 4, Giants at 5. All have multiple first-round picks. I've been sneezing this morning.
Today is National Cocktail Day?
Well, in that case.
Ten seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. We'll head out to Kansas City in a couple hours. Soren, Petro, get the reaction from Chiefs land, whether or not their run of hosting 4 straight AFC championship games appears over. Next hour, we'll get the Dolphins' perspective, whether or not, hey, got a little something going on here, which kind of leads to our poll question, Mark.
Yeah, now that the Dolphins have acquired Tyreek Hill, what are your expectations?
What are yours?
Playoffs.
So that's your expectations, and then you'll just take your chances from there?
Yes. And I'm with you. If anybody gets in, they got a shot. They're still a ways from Buffalo, in my opinion.
So is Buffalo, if you were a fan of an AFC team, is Buffalo the only fan base that should have the Super Bowl or bust expectations?
Yes.
So not even the Bengals?
No. It's the Bengals.
I know. Come on now.
He got sacked 51 times last year.
Well, over 60, count the playoffs. But come on now. They're getting La'el Collins and
I know.
acquired a couple guards. I mean, things should be better. Should be. Right. I know. It's a year-to-year league. Anything can happen. So right now, just Bills, Packers, Bucks, Rams. Okay. So you think there are 4 fan bases right now in which the realistic, if they're out talking trash, they're Felipe on the playground. They're talking trash.
They better have those unis on. Because if you're talking trash saying Super Bowl or bust in a Fins uni today, then we have to sit down and talk.
Okay. So you think there are 4 fan bases that can be out there with that lethal mid-range game talking trash. Otherwise, everybody else is getting lined.
That's where I am right now.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I love late March trash talking for a Super Bowl, though, I must admit, David.
So that's our poll question. With the Tyreek Hill trade, what are your expectations now of the Dolphins? Contenders, playoff team, or
same old Dolphins?
Oh, boy. I think people would answer it very differently if it was a different team. If you just put different helmets on this roster, I think people would answer it differently.
But you can't.
I know that. There's been a lot of psychological damage that's been done over the years.
And at the same time, Doll fan, you have to be fired up because your team is making moves. Your team cleared out cap money a few years back, got their house in order to do this. And they have made smart, strategic moves with drafts, trading draft picks. They had all these picks, and not all of them worked out well. Now they're starting to make some trades.
You know, technically they used a pick or two from the Laramie Tunsil trade to get him Tyreek Hill, because of the whole trading up and down with San Francisco. And there are those that are out there now saying that this is who the Dolphins have now acquired because of the Laramie Tunsil trade. And it's complicated. And
okay, if that's what you want to do, but right. I'll at least give them part of that, because part of this whole experiment that the Dolphins was doing was that trade and acquiring all those picks. And we had talked about this. If you just were to draft in the 2 years with all the picks they had, not trade them, you run up against some serious salary cap problems when all those contracts come up and you have to re-sign guys. So they were going to have to move draft picks. They were going to have to make trades. They were going to have to do something a little out of the box than just draft everyone with the picks they had. And they did that last year, moving around, and they did it again yesterday.
Tell you what, though, It's been a long time. Long time. And when I say long time, I mean Marino pre-Achilles injury. Long time. Since playing the Dolphins and opponents would be concerned. I mean, I really think you've got to go back to the Dolphins mid-'80s, early 90s. You know, Shula did have a good run there in the late 90s. You know, the 92 team hosted the AFC Championship game. The 93 team was the number one seed in the playoffs, and Marino got hurt. You know, the 94 team was a missed field goal away from going to the AFC Championship game. I mean, you know, they were good at the end of Marino and Shula's run there. They really did knock on the door. And I think you got to go back 30 years now. I mean, if the Dolphins make the playoffs, even if they go on the road, they've got weapons. They're a problem now.
So what you're saying is for most of our audience's first time in their lifetime, the Dolphins have weapons.
Yeah, because even the Jimmy Johnson, Dave Wanstead teams, you know, the Sperano team that made the playoffs, I mean, they were grinded out teams. They were based more on defense. You know, they ran the ball better than they threw it. You know, this team's potentially a problem now.
Absolutely.
And they can make, I mean, when's the last time you watched a Dolphins game and you're like, you know, a big play could happen at any time?
Well, you know, what I'm going to be fascinated with, just some of the little things, is I know Kelsey's great. I'm not taking anything away from Kelsey. But how much better is Gesicki going to get now that there are two elite wide receivers on this team? How much more Kelsey-esque is he going to be because all of a sudden there's someone who stretches the field that you constantly have to pay attention to?
Well, he was already a matchup nightmare.
I know.
I will say they're going to need him in the red zone, though. I mean, those receivers are small. They're going to move the ball between the 20s like crazy. I have no concern about them moving the ball in between the 20s. But usually you need a bigger target in the red zone. Gesicki's one. It could be if Devontae Parker stays on the team, it could be his value is actually in the red zone.
You look what San Francisco did with Samuel last year, and you'll see even more of Hill in the running game, which you already saw a lot of in Kansas City.
But you know what the Dolphins have been for the last 20 plus years? Not only have they been at, on the whole, no better than mediocre, but they haven't been exciting.
They've been boring.
They have not been an exciting watch. They should be now.
Tell you what, this acquisition does a lot for one David Moulton. This should get you a Monday night game in Miami.
Nothing like some home games. Brady back with the Bucks.
You'll get one there.
Tyreek Hill with the Dolphins.
You'll get one there.
There we go. Now we're talking. Loving this trade even more.
I mean, you should theoretically get a Monday night home game for each Florida team.
Woo!
You may even get one for Jacksonville.
Hey, now. Take it easy.
All right, I'm just...
Take it easy.
I got excited.
That's got Al and Kirk and Amazon written all over it, okay?
Against Tennessee or Indianapolis?
Could be Houston.
Oh, they wouldn't do that to Al and Kirk.
I hope not. I mean, you know, $1 billion a year should be able to get you more than Houston at Jacksonville. That's right, $1 billion a year for those 15 games, 15 in a preseason game. 11 years. I mean, you better get used to putting Amazon Prime on your big screen and all that. This is an 11-year deal.
You know, with that Amazon Prime that you're going to have to buy for Thursday Night Football, you can use that Amazon Prime to get yourself a Twitch subscription. Go to twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, where you can catch the show, not only all the stuff on air, but the commercials off air as well.
Shameless. Just shameless.
Subscribe, follow the Miller and Moulton twitch.tv channel. We thank you for listening. It is, of course, Miller and Moulton. We are right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Tennessee.
MTSU, what happened? Gary or your mom? I always laugh early text when your phone goes. It's either Gary or your mom.
Gary.
You should come on the show more. That's a stat. 7 losses when leading by 15 or more.
For who? The Knicks?
Knicks.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Adam, there are glass half full people and there are glass half empty people. Adam, you are one of those that wants to know who drank it, and then you want to charge them for it. You are a curmudgeon, my friend. Damn, the Knicks are not even going to make the play-in game, are they?
No. They've blown all those games. By the way, the Knicks have the same record as the Lakers. Well, I mean, Tyreek's what, 28?
Hey, there he is in shorts and a T-shirt.
Yep.
That he can throw the ball 60 yards.
I will say he suffered that injury in the.
Yeah, I know. He had to throw.
Yeah, and he needed to move around. And
Actually, no, Adam. I swear to goodness, I don't spend any time thinking about what players are going to get arrested. I don't care, first off. And how often do we report on that stuff on this show? We're not TMZ Sports. I actually like the games.
yeah,
I like that there's 3 guys there to snap the ball to Matt Corral.
Well, you got to keep it going. So if you're the NIT, you put the semis, because this is it for MSG.
Yeah.
Do you go to Vegas or do you go to like Hinkle Fieldhouse? That's what they're debating.
I'd go to Hinkle.
Do you go like,
and then was it the Palestra or whatever in Philly?
You could. That's small though. I mean, like Hinkle's a pretty decent size. Like you can get, I think, like
9.
11.
Is it 11? Okay.
In Hinkle. See, and I'm thinking it could become like Dayton if you put it. They love their basketball there.
Yep. I would go Hinkle.
It's in downtown Indianapolis. I hope he comes back.
Felipe, there he is. Bless you. Making sure you're coming back.
The coffee machine takes forever, so when we come back, I'll probably run and grab the coffee, come back. Oh, we got the starting 5 also. Make sure that plays.
Just get it started. Go get a coffee.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Isn't
Unbelievable.
it? 15 seconds.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Already have our poll question up and running. That either means we're on top of things or, well, it's a bad sign. Bad sign that we're getting out ahead of ourselves.
I wanted to vote for same old Dolphins. I did.
Really?
I wanted to, but I couldn't. It wouldn't have been what I think. Now that the Dolphins have acquired Tyreek Hill, what are your expectations for the team in the 2022 season? Super Bowl contender?
Contender now. Come on.
Golly, that's funny. Playoffs or same old Dolphins?
You can dream, Mark. You can dream. So go to that, Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter, FL Sports Network on Twitter, or floridasportsnetwork.com and vote. Felipe, before we get to the starting 5, Paul in our Twitch chat room makes a very good point. He asked, Philly wear Finn's garb this morning? Where is the Finn's garb?
That's the first thing that Mark asked me. I was half asleep when I got dressed this morning, so I didn't even think to put it on.
You're half asleep now, by the way.
I am half asleep right now.
You may want to, while we do this, walk around the building a little bit. And feel free to walk outside even. Just don't lock yourself out.
Gotcha.
Time now for
The starting 5. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Hey, I don't know if you've heard, but the Dolphins acquired Tyreek Hill from the Chiefs. Now, they did have to give up 5 draft picks, a 1st, 2nd, and 4th this year, a 4th and a 6th next year. They then signed Tyreek Hill. He still had 1 year left on his contract. This is a 4-year extension. 4 for $120. Now, that's basically done for agent purposes. What the deal really is a 3-year extension for $72 and change. It does make him, however, technically, he's now the highest paid receiver in the NFL. Devontae Adams had that record for days. Mark, the Dolphins are stroking a check for $52.5 million for Tyreek Hill at signing. Just so you know. Here you go. A little something for the effort. Welcome to Miami.
Kansas City went from 7.5-1 to 9-1 for the Super Bowl. The Dolphins went from 50-1 to 30-1. From the division, they went from 6.5 to 4.5.
Huh. Chiefs have won the West 6 years in a row. That would be our poll question if we were doing the show in Kansas City, by the way. Will the Chiefs win their 7th straight AFC West title? Now that they've traded Tyreek Hill, will the Chiefs win their 7th straight AFC West title, yay or nay? Malcolm Butler's back with New England. Remember, that divorce was not amicable. But Butler signs a 2-year, $9 million deal. He'll be expected to replace J.C. Jackson. Good luck. Hey, Alan Kirk, Thursday nights on Amazon Prime. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit combined, they're making about $25 million to do these games. Herbstreit also signed a 5-year extension to remain with ESPN/ABC. So it's funny, his contract will come up right around the same time as Joe and Troy's. 5 years from now. Not that they'll be positioning and negotiating to see who does the NFL games or anything. I'm sure that's just a coincidence.
Right.
Schedule, by the way, they say now is coming out in early May. First time they're pushing the schedule till after the draft. Usually the schedule came out a week or a week and a day before the draft. They say now they're going to push the schedule to early May.
Well, they need another television night.
The first Amazon Prime broadcast regular season game will be Thursday, September 15th. Season starts on the 8th. First Sunday of the NFL will be on September 11th. New York City, reportedly today, the new mayor is rolling back the mask mandates.
There it is.
That means Kyrie and all of the Mets and all of the Yankees who aren't vaccinated, don't worry about it. You're good. You're good. I'm sure it's just a coincidence that the baseball regular season and the NBA playoffs are both starting in about 2-3 weeks. I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
About time.
Going off the beaten path, by the way, the U.S. men's national team tonight is in Mexico City to face Mexico at Azteca. We don't win at Azteca, just so you know. In World Cup qualifying, we're 0-3-3. The big one for the men, though, is Sunday in Orlando against 4th place Panama. Top 3 qualify for the World Cup. They got 3 matches left. There's talk, should the U.S. basically not send their A team onto the pitch tonight? Because how much does it matter if you finish 1, 2, or 3 in your group? You just need not finish 4. And the one you really need is Sunday. What would you do, Mark?
I would send my A team out. It's Mexico. It's our most bitter rival in the sport. You don't lay down to play your most bitter rival. That's very un-American to me.
I'm with you. But their head coach, all right, our head coach, he did say we're thinking about it.
By the way, I don't know if you would call it underrated, but Panama by Van Halen is a great song to play loud in your car with the windows down.
I'm with you.
Might do it after the show.
Is this spurring, sometimes?
Well, you said the game against Panama, and I just
Right.
wanted to go, Panama!
The Sweet 16 gets underway tonight, South Region in San Antonio. The early game is Michigan-Villanova. The Wildcats a 5-point favorite. The late game is Arizona-Houston. And surprisingly, the 5th-seeded Cougars just a 1.5-point dog. Meanwhile, out west in Frisco, Arkansas-Gonzaga is the early game. Zag's a 9.5-point favorite.
Big number.
It is, especially going against the 4 seed. Meanwhile, Duke is an underdog. A 1-point dog against Texas Tech. Does Coach K's career come to an end in San Francisco tonight? I say yes.
I do too. I think they'll have a tougher time tonight than if they were to get past this than they would with Gonzaga.
Or Arkansas, because neither one of those teams really play defense and they're not as physical. Texas Tech, they're going to take Duke into the alley tonight. The officiating will be very big in that game tonight. Very big. If they allow it to get physical, it's a big edge for the Red Raiders. Big edge. By the way, A&M and Washington State winners in the NIT last night, so it'll be those two along with St. Bonaventure and Xavier to Madison Square Garden for what could be the final time for the NIT semis and finals. The Garden has hosted the NIT semis and finals every year except for last year because of the pandemic. They had it in one neutral site, I think, in Austin. But since 1938.
Yeah, this is kind of a shocker to me. The NCAA owns the NIT. They're the ones responsible for moving this. No group thinks about their history outside of baseball more than the NCAA. So moving it's a bit of a surprise to me. There's talk of Vegas or Indianapolis at Hinkle Field.
Right. I mean, they basically, and it's an interesting debate. If we're going to do something different, do we go glitz and glamour or try to Vegas, or do we go traditional, great college basketball city in Indianapolis, historic Hinkle Fieldhouse? Do we go different kind of history, or do we go, you know what, let's make our own history, new day and age for the NIT, Vegas, baby?
I'd go Hinkle Fieldhouse personally. I think that's a better move.
I would turn it into their Dayton. With the first four, I would turn the NIT semis and finals and say, here it is.
Got a better chance of drawing a consistent crowd in Indianapolis, I think.
By the way, we had that bet on the CBI final because we're degenerates.
You won.
Yeah, well, I mean, double overtime game, though, at least was entertaining. UNC Wilmington won it over Middle Tennessee State. Yes, that's right. We placed a wager on the CBI final. NBA, there were 11 games last night. The headliner, though, the Heat lost at home to Golden State by 14, and they fought amongst themselves. Haslam and Jimmy Butler had to be separated, and then Spo had to be separated 3 times from Jimmy Butler, and he threw his clipboard, laptop, whatever the hell it was at him. iPad? They were hot. 35 minutes after the game ended, the media was still sitting in the room waiting for somebody from the Heat to come out and talk to them. Normally, they wait about 10. Kyle Lowry said, no big deal.
It's not.
We're the Heat. We do this.
If it were in May, I'd worry. March 24th, I'm not nearly as worried, David.
They've lost 4 of 7. I will say their lead in the East for best overall records down to a game and a half and only 1 in the loss column.
Every champion goes through adversity.
Oh, please. When they're a champion, talk to me. Memphis beat Brooklyn without Ja Morant by 12. Phoenix went into Minnesota and won without Chris Paul. And the Suns they're the best team right now until proven otherwise. Sixers beat the LeBron-less Lakers by 5. Boston is just
red hot,
destroying people. Utah came in and lost by 28.
That right now is the best team in the East.
That's the team you would want to play today.
Right now, I don't know when the playoffs start. At this very moment, Boston's the best team in the East.
By the way, San Antonio making a late run on the outside. They were a game and a half back of the play-in. Out west, they beat Portland by 37.
Please stay tuned to this channel, whether it's Fox or ESPN later in the day. They'll break down the Lakers' chances of making the postseason.
Right. They're 31-42, yet they'll break it down. 4 NHL games. Toronto beat Jersey in the Justin Bieber jerseys. He designed the jerseys for the Leafs last night. Buffalo beat Pittsburgh in a shootout. Crosby a goal and assist in the loss. Vancouver, much needed win, and they did so in Denver. They beat the Avs 3-1, just the 7th home loss of the year for Colorado. Chicago doubled up Anaheim. Speaking of Anaheim, they did a deal with Las Vegas. The NHL stepped in last night, canceled the trade. They said, yeah, you guys didn't read this one guy's contract. He had a no-trade clause or a limited no-trade. He couldn't be traded to this team. Don't you guys know how to read? And it's a bummer for Vegas because they would have cleared $3.4 million in cap space. They got all those guys on the injured list. They're trying to manage the long-term injured list, play guys, and they needed that cap room. The match play got underway in golf. Spieth, Hovland, Schauffele, Morikawa, Koepka, DJ, all winners. Bryson DeChambeau halved his match with Richard Bland. Daniel Berger, Bubba Watson, Tony Finau, Justin Thomas, among those who lost. We got some great Ryder Cup matches today, Mark. We got Morikawa against Sergio, DeChambeau against Westwood, Scheffler against Fleetwood, and Spieth against Justin Rose.
Yeah, they've redone this tournament so many times. I don't even understand. There are different pods and round robin and trying to make sure the best players advance.
Right. 16 four-player pods, 2 guys advance from each pod. And so you all play each other once, and whoever has the most points and that sort of deal, the top two advance. College hockey tournament gets underway today. Begins at noon. If you're interested, noon, 3, 6, and 9. You want to watch a little college hockey.
Always great games. I will tell you, it is always entertaining.
Notre Dame against North Dakota at 6 o'clock.
Done. In.
Just a little something for the effort there. And by the way, just a footnote, after the Tyreek Hill trade, there are now not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but 7 NFL teams who have 2 or more first-round picks. Unprecedented. They went back to 67 the last time you had anything even remotely close to this in an NFL draft. Jets, Giants, Eagles, Texans, Packers, Chiefs, Lions, all with multiple first-round picks. The teams who draft 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th have multiple first-round picks.
Going to be a crazy draft.
Unbelievable draft. That's where we're going to get all these Twitch followers that you want. Jump up and get to 1,000 with the draft.
It is a one-of-a-kind draft show, the Miller and Moulton draft show. I'll start drinking bourbon very early on in the show. David will play it straight for the whole show. At some point around pick 22, I'm usually hooked on phonics.
You are, and that's usually when I decide I'm going to start drinking beer. Once I've determined that you are officially...
Once I've asked if the same guy's been drafted 3 times and he's already been drafted.
Yes.
They need to take Moulton here. He was taken 4 picks ago.
Right.
They need to take Moulton here. He was taken 4 picks ago.
Yeah, that happened last year. That did. That was hysterical. Mark, I just did that segment.
I think it was that TCU D-back, if memory serves me right.
So that was...
the starting 5.
There you have it. Miller and Moulton. So a little bit of everything to go with Tyreek Hill's a Dolphin. Man, you know what I'd like to do right now? I'd like to be a sports talk show host. It seems like it'd be fun.
Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
There's a lot of ads out there that are bad right now.
Okay, so here's apparently Arch quickly. So one of the guys involved was traded earlier this year. He has a limited no trade clause. There's like 10 of the 30 teams that he can't go to. And apparently, like when that deal was announced, I don't know, earlier in the year, like there was confusion as to whether or not the limited no trade clause was waived. And so when they then tried to do this deal, they traded him to a team that was originally on his limited no trade clause. And the team that had him didn't know that. And the team that acquired him didn't think there was an issue until after the deal was made. And then one of the two teams caught it and raised their hand and went, we may have a problem here. They basically called in the league and said, so what's the ruling? And the league took about 2 days and then said, yeah, the trade's nullified. Here's something I didn't know. Apparently, trades can still be made in the NHL. You just can't play like the rest of the year. So like apparently Vegas can still get cap relief. Like they can move a couple of guys, right, but like the people they acquire, or, you know, I know you're not eligible for the playoffs, but I don't even know if you're eligible to play the rest of the year. So Vegas apparently can still make a move or two to try to create cap room down the stretch to bring some of their injured guys back. Well, there's a big difference, though, between Tyreek Hill, Adam, and Deebo Samuel. Samuel's really physical. Tyreek Hill's not.
No, and I agree. All I'm saying is that you got a coach that's going to take what Andy Reid done and could double down on the number of times that Tyreek Hill runs the ball. That's all. That was my only point.
I just don't, they run Samuel in between the tackles. They're just going to be running Hill on sweeps.
Right. But with Mozart and Edmonds, now you have the opportunity to trap. You have so many different things you can do in a running game because you have this thing called a running back, David, that you haven't had in a couple of flipping years.
Well, let's just hope they stay healthy. I'd like to see the we've only been asking for it as sports talk show hosts for nearly 20 years. Could the Dolphins get good? Man, that'd be nice. That would be amazing.
Our Cuban fan base is going to perform some santeria so we can stay healthy.
Whatever you guys got to do, man. Seriously.
I would really just like a coffee. I mean, you don't have to perform anything. If you could just get me a Cuban coffee,
if you need us to perform in the background, kind of like the Pips, or something, I mean, I'm all in.
That's when they get those candles at Publix that have like Jesus on them.
Oh, yeah.
They light them up. They do a ritual. Get the rosary,
Got those too. Trust me, my wife might have turned Cuban. We've got Jesus candles now and everything.
Is there anything else you want to talk about here?
I was just going to redo yesterday.
15 seconds.
Scoops,
because I told her that, and the hatred I got from my
Oh,
daughter for
we got to hear
the fact
that.
that she was part of the poll question.
We're coming back.
Top of the hour.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Sweet 16 Thursday edition of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. You can watch this show every morning. It's twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. We have our own channel. It's Amazon Prime. If you're an Amazon Prime customer, you get, you get Twitch for free. You can watch the show for free, but I mean, you get a free Twitch subscription, and that gets you all sorts of bonuses and no commercials, and the commercial inventory that breaks. And anyway, it's a hot steaming deal. Follow the show, subscribe to the show. We think it's a decent product, and there's a Twitch chat room, which is always lively, in which people are chiming in this morning, Mark, about Tyreek Hill. He's a Miami Dolphin.
Yes, he is.
And how much does that change things?
And I don't know about you, but this came out of nowhere to me. All of a sudden, I'm on Twitter, and I'm like, the Dolphins are talking to the Chiefs about trading for Hill. This kind of came out of left field, and it happened quickly.
Apparently, Hills started sending out some ominous tweets, social media postings 11 days ago. But I'm guessing those in Kansas City were following it because it was getting no traction nationally.
None.
And then right around the end of our show yesterday, shortly afterwards, it's like, hey, it looks like the Chiefs are trading Tyreek Hill. Oh, who's interested? And the first team that was mentioned was the Jets. And I thought to myself, wow, okay, Joe Douglas, first big move here. I doubt he's given up one of his 2 first-round picks at 4 and 10, but okay, let's see. And it turns out, by the way, the Jets' offer did not include a first-round pick.
That's why they didn't get him.
Well, apparently it was up to Hill as to where he wanted to play. And I think that Stephen Ross's wallet won out. That if close, go to the better team. Oh, yeah, Miami's home. And Stephen Ross's money. So, sure, I can go there. Sounds good.
So they get him. They lock him up.
Yep.
For a 4-year extension. And it gets us to our poll question, which is, now that Tyreek Hill is a Dolphin, what are your expectations for the Fins this year? Most of you think they're a playoff team, but 41% of you still think they're the same old Dolphins.
Really? Really? Wow. They have had back-to-back winning seasons, I mean, they're not coming from where the Jets and Jags and Texans are coming from. I mean, they are firmly middle of the pack.
David, you have to remember that our audience, and our audience particular on Twitter, is not going to be all Dolphin fans. If we did this question in Miami, if we were just solely based in South Florida, it would be 57% Super Bowl contender, 40% playoffs, and 3% same old Dolphins. But where we are, there are a lot of people who are not Dolphins, and therefore will take any opportunity to take a shot at them. I told you I almost voted for same old Dolphins.
Why? Is the scar tissue that?
Yes.
Man.
Yes, it is.
By the way, quick sidebar, if you are a Jets fan, how long does this rebuild look like it's taking in comparison to what the rest of the division's doing? Patriots had one down year, then come back and make the playoffs. The Bills are the Bills. Right now, they got a good little something going on.
They do.
Look like they're going to be Super Bowl contenders for the next 3 years at least. And then now, wait, the Dolphins are actually getting in the game?
Hey, and just to make matters worse, the Bengals were in the Super Bowl last year. And that's the only thing that's told them, hey, so there's a chance.
Text the show if you never have before. It's real easy to do. Send a text, all one word, FSN Radio. FSN Radio. Send it to 21,000. 21000, and then you're in. And if you've already texted the show, feel free to do so again.
Got one last night around midnight, David. Just before midnight. Listening to the playback on Twitch, Mark, you said the Dolphins need a wide receiver. They got their receiver and backed up the truck. Yes, they did.
I will say, have not heard anyone complain about what it is the Dolphins gave up to get him.
I certainly hope not.
Well, I mean, it is 5 draft picks, a 1, a 2, 2 4s, and a 6. I mean, in theory, 4 of those 5 guys should make the team.
Okay.
Even a deep team.
No.
You're looking at that thinking, 4, and maybe I use a couple of those picks, combine them, move up, and get somebody else. But
in a best world, you're going to get 2 starters out of that group.
Right.
In the best possible scenario. That's realistic.
Yeah, and in fact, if you're a good team, you may only get 1 starter, the first-round pick.
So they got the starter.
Yes,
an
they
elite
did.
all-pro starter.
Yes.
So I'll sacrifice that for the 1 and the 2. Out of the 2 4s and a 6, to me, you're talking about 1, maybe 2 guys that make a team. There are plenty of one-year free agents that can fill that void for a year.
Hey, you're going to hear me complain that a team gave up too many draft picks.
I just every once in a while I'm going to explain why I think this whole draft pick thing's ridiculous.
Well, we've thought that for a while, and we've argued it, and finally the NFL is seeing it our way. I think they're downloading our podcast. I do. Something had to have happened. During the pandemic, maybe. It was a slow time for them as well.
Numbers went up a little bit.
And the word is spreading. And I would really like to thank the LA Rams. We think they were the ones that downloaded the podcast first. And they've realized, you know what? Draft picks, you know what? You could miss just as easily as you could hit. Why don't you take them and use them and actually get proven players that you know are going to come in and play?
First-time texter says, you know what's crazy? How does Dallas only get a 5th rounder for Amari Cooper?
You got that right. You got that right. Yep. Although
contract.
Yeah, the Chiefs were not going to cut Tyreek Hill. He was just going to enter the final year of his contract, and then it was, he was going to threaten a holdout, and they just decided they were going to avoid all that. The Cowboys were cutting Amari, which they shouldn't have let that word out, by the way. They should have just, done their business. The Browns ended up having to give up an extra draft pick for Deshaun Watson. Remember the deal was announced and it was like 5 picks? No, it actually turns out to be 6. Not that it matters.
Okay.
Right. Hey, I'm totally with you.
Okay.
I'm totally with you.
Especially given the fact now that we're talking 600 free agents are out there, most of which are going to sign a 1-year deal. That 600 will go to 650 next year. This whole saving draft picks thing, teams are going to figure out it might not be the best move with what the league has been able to accomplish and get these contracts, these high number of 1-year deals. Well, what do you have on the 1-year guys? You've got NFL film, not college film. It's not a crapshoot as much. I mean, rosters are going to change over in ways that we've never seen before with the number of 1-year deals that are out there, David.
Well, and it's just starting. And now that the owners, if you will, / general managers have been able to start to go down this road, it's difficult to imagine how the players and the agents are going to be able to reverse this course.
Think about one other factor to it, even in the draft and in the college free agent world. What are we going to have for the next 2 years? We're going to have more graduates in college than we've ever had before. With all these COVID players, all these 5- and 6-year guys are throwing another huge amount of players into the player pool in the National Football League.
Now, Paul in our Twitch chat room brings up a valid point. So everyone expects this brand new head coach and his staff to do well because he has the right players. There's usually a learning curve with a first-year head coach. Usually first-year head coaches, even if they walk into a decent situation, oftentimes they do not do better than the situation that they inherited. It's called a learning curve for a reason. So a lot of pressure on Tua, a little bit of pressure on Mike McDaniel here.
More on Tua. Should be more on McDaniel because he's now got the players. And, RCB says maybe Andy was sick of Tyreek's antics, not worth $30 million, in my opinion. For whom? Because I would just ask you, do you think the Chiefs are as good now as they were yesterday? And how much worse are they? How many wins does that element cost them in that division? And I think Miami turns into a playoff team. And to David's point, if you're in the playoffs, then you're damn near a Super Bowl contender.
I would ask RCB, what antics? What antics? What has Tyreek Hill done in the last 4 years? Yeah. What antics? I mean, there was an off-the-field incident in 2017 in which it's still debated to this day whether or not it involved him or his woman.
I was going to say that's probably what he was referring to.
Well,
but that's 5 years ago.
5 years ago. And no charges were even filed.
And no offense, Andy Reid's only antics he's got to worry about are inside his own family. Andy Reid antics, I'm sorry. Andy Reid's got enough to worry about that. I don't think Tyreek Hill's antics 5 years ago should be affecting Andy Reid.
The second thing is that on paper it's $30 million a year, but he'll play this year on his old Chiefs contract, and then the 4-year extension is really a 3-year extension at $24 a year. So it looks good on paper. It looks like $120 on paper. It's really $3 for $72 on paper. And I think we're all going to be shocked. Well, maybe we won't be because we're pounding the table. But you wait to see what the cap's like in 2 years. I mean, the new network TV deal has yet to kick in for the salary cap. $208.2 million is going to be over $250 within 2 years. Guaranteed.
Want to text the show? Text the keywords. It's FSN Radio to 21,000. FSN Radio to 21,000. That's how you enter the conversation here on Miller and Moulton. Text FSN Radio to 21,000. If you've already done so, you know the drill. If not, do it once and you're in forever. Let us know what you think about this trade or anything else that's on your mind. Miller and Moulton. Matt Cannata coming up in about 20 minutes right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles Or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
No, Donjay, it's a great question. It really is. The only thing I would answer, does it matter if the Dolphins are better than anybody in the AFC West? Because they could conceivably beat each other up. The question is what division that we think is good is going to fall apart? Because one will. But I like the Dolphins' schedule from where it's at right now. They play the AFC North. I mean, outside of Green Bay, those are all winnable games. They play the AFC North. That's interesting. Ooh, they get the Steelers and Browns at home.
Who?
Dolphins. Dolphins' schedule is really good.
We play the Packers at home, too.
Yeah, Packers, Vikings, Browns, Steelers, division, and Houston. Because they've got 9 road games this year, right? Yeah.
The Celtics really are scary, man.
Yes, they are.
They're scary.
So who's the East playing this year? What division?
The East is playing the North and the North.
Okay.
The AFC East.
Right.
No dates yet, Arch. No dates. We just talked about that. That'll be after the draft. They'll come up with a schedule.
I've been on this, but I think Tatum will win MVP one day.
I like how we're having a football conversation, and every pause, you've
Basketball's
gone
on.
back to a Celtic thing.
Basketball.
We haven't even mentioned them since the middle of the last segment.
I know, but
Or I'm sorry, since the starting 5. That was it's 35 minutes ago, Felipe.
Listen, we'll get you a job in the Northeast. We'll do the best we can. We'll put in a good word for you. We'll send you to a basketball city. All right. Tell you what, you'd be great in Sacramento. You really would, because that's all they have. Right. That's the thing.
Really,
where are we going to send you? Memphis.
Orlando.
it's
Memphis,
an NBA team.
They love their ball in Memphis. Now they prefer the college team to the Grizz, but still, I mean, you're into hoop. You should go to Memphis.
Really?
Louisville.
Yes.
It's that big.
Louisville. Oh, the Memphis Tigers?
That much bigger than the Grizzlies?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Day in, day out, yes. Now, with John Morant, and they'll be the 2 seed, all right, but oh no, the college team is definitely more popular than the pro team.
Wow.
But that could change with John Morant.
Yes.
It's because you've got a generational talent there.
But even in the early 10s, when they had, grit and grind, Grizzlies, Marc Gasol, still?
No.
Wow.
The college team. Now, there may have been times where the Grizz were good and the Tigers were really down, but oh, no. Grizzlies are winning 55 games, and they're a 3 seed in the West. Memphis Tigers are a Sweet 16 team. No comparison. It's a college town. Louisville's a college town.
Yeah.
That's where we need to send you. We need to send you to a hoop town. You'd be great in the, New York City.
Oh, man.
It's a basketball, baseball city.
I would love it. And I could continue to be a Dolphins fan because,
Well,
you know why.
Well, every bar. I mean, every team has their own bar in New York City, so you'd be fine.
DC, shut up. Shut up.
I don't like using the term thug. He's punkish.
He's fiery.
Jimmy Butler's not a thug.
He's not a thug.
He's a great player.
Yeah.
He's
Jimmy Butler's the guy you want on your team and you hate him when he's on the other team.
He's expressive. Man, this Villanova team was so good.
Yes.
They're going to get beat by Michigan.
You think so?
I do.
Ooh. All right.
Well, this Nova team's not as good.
Right, obviously. Ten seconds.
Frashilla's doing a lot of the Westwood 1 games too, by the way.
Uh-huh.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Big story of the day, obviously, occurred midday yesterday. Tyreek Hill, 5 draft picks go from Miami to Kansas City, and then Stephen Ross opens up his checkbook. Boy, anybody bringing up the Brian Flores firing and the lawsuit now?
No. Just a texter who said Brian Flores must be so confused right now.
Not confused. But, hey, Ross has been this type of owner throughout. I mean, he is in favor of the big splashy move.
100%.
Money is not the reason the Dolphins have failed. I mean, Stephen Ross took nearly $500 million out of his own pocket and made improvements to the stadium. He didn't ask the city for it. I mean, he did it himself. I mean, Stephen Ross has had no problem. GMs have been like, from Tannenbaum, before that, Parcells, Greer. Hey, I need this for a signing. But how much you need? Well, I need this. Done.
The only thing that you could say he's been a bad owner about from a money standpoint is not wanting Harbaugh. That's the guy that you actually thought they should get. He chose his alma mater over his pro team.
Right.
If you believe that Jim Harbaugh would have been the right answer for the Miami Dolphins as a head coach.
But Ross said, I'm leading with my heart here. And basically said, I love Michigan as much or more as I love the NFL team I own. And I'm not going to be the reason that Jim Harbaugh leaves Michigan. He would have let the Minnesota Vikings be the reason before he was going to let him be the reason. So that to me is a heart thing.
Right. But financially, he's done everything he's supposed to do.
Right.
His GMs have missed.
Yeah. I mean, he's hired the wrong people and he's been impatient. There have been times in which they've been going down this road and he immediately switches course and goes, the hell with that plan. I want to do this.
And if Tua doesn't perform this year, I would expect that they'll be back into let's find a quarterback and trade whoever we have to, because that comes from on top. And we now know that Deshaun Watson, rumors to Miami started with Ross.
More than rumors.
Well, yeah.
He's like, get him. I'm tired of this.
So our poll question today does stem around the trade. What do you expect of the Dolphins now that Tyreek Hill is a Dolphin? Super Bowl contender, playoffs, same old Dolphins, playoffs with 53% of the vote. Hopefully this poll question won't get me in nearly as much trouble as yesterday's did.
Really? How were they aware of the poll question?
I told my daughter.
Oh, well, okay.
I told her while I was pitching softball to her yesterday that she was part of the poll question, which I found that my daughter's a better hitter when she's angry. So to tick her off right before batting practice usually works to my advantage.
Huh.
But yesterday's poll question is I've dubbed my daughter Scoops. She's played a little catcher on this U8 softball team. And I just said, nice scoop. Way to go, Scoops. And on way to go, Scoops, I got a head turn, a tilt, a dirty look, and Daddy, stop it. Well, that's the wrong thing to say to me. That's just going to encourage me.
It's like telling a child to, hey, stop doing that. They go, oh, this annoys you, huh?
So we had a poll question of what is Scoops a better nickname for? A softball player, a dog walker, or an ice cream shop employee?
Yeah, I thought those were solid answers.
My mom nearly spit up when I said dog walker. She found that to be pretty funny. Dog walker and softball tied
ice cream shop employee ran away with it.
There you go.
But my daughter is very bitter at me from taking her nickname and putting it into a poll question. I hate to break it to her. She's going to have a rough next 10 years if that's the case.
Listen, here's how I think you should sell it. Honey, since I used you for a poll question, I don't feel the need to keep calling you Scoops anymore. I feel as if I got my money's worth out of calling you Scoops already. I don't need to keep doing it. So our poll question today is the Dolphins, the Tyreek Hill deal, along with all the other moves that they've made. I mean, you've got to acknowledge, what's this, the 8th player they've signed for the offensive side of the ball? What, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 2 offensive linemen. They made sure they didn't lose Gesicki. They brought in a different second tight end. I mean, they've made a lot of moves on that side of the ball. Good. They haven't been good enough on that side of the ball. I mean, when a former first-round draft pick right now is no better than your 4th wide receiver, I mean, that's what Devontae Parker is right now. He's no better than their 4th wideout. Good. Because he's only had 1 good year out of 5. You can't keep counting on guys who have more often than not produced. The other thing is now they can have a real competition amongst their offensive linemen. Say, hey, I don't know what to tell you. We had to play you guys the last year or 2 because we didn't have anybody else. That ain't the case now. We got a whole new left side of the offensive line. So you guys on the left side, we're going to move you over here, and you guys fight it out. I mean, amongst the 4 of you, 2 of you have got to be pretty good, right?
Now pay attention because Friday late will be the only time you see the Miami Dolphins making a draft pick.
Right. First, second, and 4th went to Kansas City, so all they have is a 3rd, right?
Well, their 3rd went to the Giants. They have a conditional or compensatory pick, I should say, rather, at 102.
Oh, yeah, we're talking 11 o'clock at night on Friday here.
Right. And then a 4th and a 5th and a 7th round pick is all Miami has.
I'll tell you what, I mean, life just got a lot easier for the scouts, right?
Well, according to Urban, they're all lazy.
We didn't really comment about that. The only thing that I will say about it was the Athletic story,
yes,
right? About Urban and how bad it reportedly was in Jacksonville. To me, I mean, he clearly wasn't going to get another NFL job again. Maybe not a college job. I don't know if there'd be one that he would be interested in. But what a story like the Athletic is doing, in my opinion, Mark, is that Urban could have sat out a year and gone back on TV. Now you got to wonder, can you put Urban back on TV? Is he just too much of a punchline? Quite frankly, is it Matt Millen?
I think you can put him back on. It might take a couple of years. We do forget. And being in an article in The Athletic is about the same thing as being in the witness protection program. Come on. The Athletic's a great publication, but I would venture to say that less than 10% of our audience subscribes.
I understand, but the word gets out.
I know.
I mean, and if one thing gets out, which part is it? The part in which reportedly he didn't know who Aaron Donald was? That's concerning.
This 99 guy looks like he's going to give us some problems. Who's that?
Who's that 99 guy?
Ouch.
Is the best defensive player in the NFL
for the last 3 years. Thought you might know who that is.
Right. You weren't aware of him? Huh. Interesting. So you didn't watch any football on Sundays is what you're saying? You were having coffee. I mean, you didn't catch any of the playoffs?
Right.
He was in the Super Bowl, a few years ago. No? Nothing? All right.
And the fact that some players came out on the record, that was the other thing about it. There were a lot of anonymous sources before that, but DJ Chark came out and just basically filleted Urban.
Yes, he did.
And that you don't see very often. But I think he was aware this guy's never going to be in this league again, so it doesn't really matter what I say. And I'm not going to bother any other coaches by saying this.
And I'm leaving Jacksonville anyway. So that to me is the story from that story, is that I do think it has legs for him and his professional career. Because part of when he was on Fox, and you and I said, hey, he was really good.
Yes, he was.
But he would also do the, hey, this is what you have to do to have a winning team. He would talk about culture problems and this, that, and the other thing. Well, how can he
is a culture problem.
Right. He loses all of that talk now on the pregame show.
Yeah, it would have to be strict X's and O's. It
Yes.
really would.
Yeah. And reminding people that, on Saturdays he was really good. Like great.
Like Mount Rushmore great.
Like historically great. That seems like a long time ago, wasn't it?
It really does.
Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Boy, Adam, I pegged you today. They're after you now. I didn't mean for all that.
Yeah, really, man.
Why? Denskirk, you should not be embarrassed that you really liked him when he was at Florida. He was great at Florida. This is what David and I have been complaining about to Florida fans for a decade. He brought you 2 flipping natties. What? He's not a dope either. He's just a phony, is what he is. He's a phony.
How did we get to Urban Meyer again?
Because we just brought him up on the air.
No, but
there was a story in the Athletic.
Oh, that's right.
I just mentioned when David said something about Miami with the scouts. I said, well, scouts are lazy according to Urban Meyer.
Right. That
was part of that was part of the article in which apparently he called the scouts lazy in front of the scouts. Are you a subscriber to the Athletic?
No.
I will send you a 30-day free pass because I get like so many free 30-dayers. I'll send you one.
Oh, I've had free trials on that. It's amazing.
It's not. I'll tell you what, though, it is not an easy site to manage.
Unless you follow every team, David.
I know.
Like, literally, so that I can just click because I follow the Florida teams and I follow Sparty. And that's it as far as who I follow. That way's easy. But you got to go to the front page and hope.
Do you guys have Bleacher Report?
I do.
I don't read it very often.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of their work, to be honest with you.
I have it for their elite notifications. Because, for example, I have every NBA team.
No.
Every single one.
You do?
Yes.
That's shocking.
Wow, I'm really surprised.
Unbelievable. Really?
Hey, you guys.
But look,
our producer Felipe has notifications from all 30 NBA teams on his phone.
Including Sacramento. You're going to be big there.
I know. But listen, it gets better. If you hard press, hold on, let me go back. If you hard press the notification,
It goes right to the article?
It pops up the box score.
Oh,
right there.
NBA box scores?
And then it tells you, the Lakers covered +10, over under 225.5.
Wow. I will say Johnny Haha has or DC said has a good idea. If you ever were to subscribe to The Athletic, do it now because that .edu saves you a bunch of money.
Oh, yeah.
Probably if you don't have Apple Music, I would do that now too because Apple Music's $5 a month for students.
I got Apple Music.
The other thing is, you're going to have to start filing taxes. And you can write all this stuff off, it's professional expense.
Yeah, your cable bill.
You're a producer. Yeah. You have to watch sports in order to do your job. You can write off your cable bill.
Write off your internet bill.
Write off. Oh, yeah. Write off your internet bill. You can't do your job without the internet. You need the Athletic to be able to do your job. You got to keep up. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yes.
We don't get paid a lot, but our write-offs are.
Yeah.
In fact, my first accountant, when I gave my cable bill to her, she looked at me. She goes, "What is this?" I go, "It's my cable bill." Yeah. I go, "That's a business expense." She looks at me, "How is it a business expense?" I go, "What do I do?" Go to a sports talk show. She goes, "Holy shit, it's a business expense."
Oh, my God.
She goes, "I'm jealous of you right now."
No. So cable, internet, anything that you pay money for on the internet, unless it's porn, you can probably write it off.
This whole sports thing just got a little better.
Yeah, it should have gone into sports talk. No, there's no money. There's good seats at games, but there's no money.
Nope.
By the way, I'll get the name of it. There's a Netflix documentary just on drummers. It's really cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we're watching a lot of Netflix these days. So, although we have a couple shows that we like, so they're sure to be canceled.
Count Me In is the name of the documentary.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. Do you like it?
Matt's on hold. Hey, I'll just say this. Apple Music's better than Spotify.
Oh, way better. It's not close.
Way better. Oh, man.
Really?
I'm so glad you agree with me.
You own it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
2 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. An hour from now, we'll head out to Kansas City, talk to Soren Petro on Sports Radio 810, get their side of the Tyreek Hill trade. But right now, we go at it from the Dolphins side. He's Matt Cannata. He is Pro Football Network. Without him, it would not be. You can follow Matt on Twitter at Cannata PFN, Cannata 2 N's 1 T PFN. Matt, David, and Mark, once again, top of the morning to you. How are you?
Morning, David and Mark. How are you guys doing today?
Do you guys have any content lately? All right. You having trouble getting clicks?
No. Yeah, it's just been a slow time of the year for the NFL and the Dolphins, especially, kind of hanging out in the background.
Well, all right. Your assessment of the trade. For the record, Miller and Moulton both love it. There's no way they're getting a receiver of that quality at 29. So if you can lump up picks 1 and 2 for Hill, I don't know if they could have done any better in a draft. The 2 4s and a 6, you're talking maybe 2 guys that make the team. We love it. Do you love it?
How can you not love it, right? Especially the way the Dolphins have drafted over the past few years. And you're right, that 29 pick, everyone's during the season talking about, wow, what did the Dolphins do, right? And then you're looking at the 49ers, and they're advancing further and further and further, and almost to the point of the Super Bowl. And now you're picking 29th, and everyone's looking at it and saying, wow, people thought they screwed up the trade to begin with the Eagles and the 49ers back then when they drafted Jalen Waddle. And now you're looking at it again, and you're like, wow, they really, really messed this up. Then they turn around and use that pick on Tyreek Hill. I mean, they're probably going to draft a receiver to that spot anyways, or an offensive lineman, but they got Teron Armstead. They took care of that. Maybe a running back, who knows? It's a tough spot to draft one in round 1. But to use pick 29 essentially on Tyreek Hill, I mean, that's a steal. And I know they gave up a second-round pick as well. but you're not going to get any kind of quality receiver or a known quantity of Tyreek Hill in those first 2 rounds of the NFL draft. And the 4th round pick and then the 6th round picks in 2022 and 2023, those are lottery tickets, right? I mean, how often do those guys turn out? You might get lucky here and there, but those are kind of throwing darts in the air at that point.
Matt, our poll question today is, after the Tyreek Hill trade, basically, what are your expectations for the Dolphins? And we gave folks 3 choices. You think now they're a legit Super Bowl contender? You think now they're a solid playoff team? Or do you go same old Dolphins? And over 4 out of 10 still go, yeah, nice trade, but they're the same old Dolphins. Do you look at them now and go, this really does change things?
Yeah, I mean, I know everyone's scarred from being a Dolphins fan, me included, for the past how many years of, oh, wow, here we go again. It's almost like the Chargers, right? And it's always finding a way to lose, and they're still kind of doing that. But I think Mike McDaniel and Chris Guerrero and even Steven Ross are throwing all their chips on the table with this. I mean, look at the contract that they're giving him. You can not even really look at the number of picks they're giving, because that's irrelevant. I think it's not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. But the contract, right? The contract's the big point, and I know there's $70+ million guaranteed, and he may not see the final year of his deal or whatever the case might be. But you have the defense coming back, right? There's really been not a whole lot of changes on the defensive side. You have the continuity in the coaching staff. You have an offensive guru, supposedly, right, in Mike McDaniel, who has been fantastic in San Francisco of helping develop that run game, of using Deebo Samuel in space and getting him wide open and really honing in on his talents. And now you have that in Miami. You have Gesicki, who's a glorified wide receiver, right? You have Jalen Waddle, who we saw was quite impressive last year. Now you're going to put Tyreek Hill opposite him. And the verdict can still be out on Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert, but it seems like McDaniel has a very, solid plan in place for that. And you have to look at the team and say they're a solid playoff contender. And I don't know if Super Bowl contender is the right word. I think that's very dependent on what Tua does this year, and if he can take this and really catapult this into way more than what he did last year. If he turns it up quite a few notches, the Dolphins are absolutely Super Bowl contenders.
What about the Chiefs, Matt? When you look at Kansas City now, how differently do you look at them? Are they still head and shoulders above the rest of the AFC West? Or when you look at what the Raiders and Chargers and Denver have all done at the offseason, that the West is a little bit more of a logjam than it's ever been, or than it's been in a long time?
The West is going to be so fun to watch this year. And the great part about it is that they'll probably have a lot of 4 o'clock games. And so after the early slate's over, we're going to get to tune in and watch a lot of these teams play. And the Chiefs, when you look at their roster, right? I mean, their defense has always been suspect. It's gotten better. But Andy Reid's no defensive guru. And they have some pieces in place. But it's nothing that people are scared of. You have Mahomes, but Mahomes can only do so much by himself, right? I don't think the Chiefs fans are quite excited about the prospects of Juju Smith-Schuster and Mecole Hardman and those guys on the offensive side of the ball to really kind of keep that offense going. Yeah, they have Kelsey, but remember, Kelsey was probably made more open in the middle of the field because of Tyreek Hill going upfield. And so I think we're going to see a step back from the Chiefs this year. We kind of saw last year what happens when Mahomes tries to do too many things by himself, right? Everyone thought the world was falling around him. And it kind of was a little bit because he wasn't trusting his players to do what they needed to do. So I think we're going to see a lot of really good competition there. And I don't think the Chiefs are at the top of that division anymore.
Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. Follow Matt on Twitter, Cannata PFN, Cannata 2 N's 1 T PFN. No one was in the area code of the Bills last year in the AFC East. They were head and shoulders and maybe more above the Patriots and Dolphins. Does this get the Dolphins in their area code, or is there still a clear level between Miami and Buffalo?
When you look at Buffalo and kind of how they dominated Miami in the Brian Flores era, right? It was always just the Dolphins never really stood a chance, and I think that's because of the conservative mindset they went into that game with under a defensive-minded head coach. I think when you look at the moves they made and the continuity they have, adding Von Miller and bringing back, they weren't free agents, but Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and other key players on that team, you're not really changing much from their standpoint besides Von Miller. The Dolphins, and as a specific example in a vacuum, counter that with Teron Armstead. They counter that with Tyreek Hill. And you're going to see a much more fast and much more aggressive Dolphins team this year than you did under Brian Flores. And I think having that mentality and attacking the Bills defense and putting them on the, opposing side and on, no pun intended, but on the defensive side of things is going to put them up against the wall. And I think you're going to see a big difference in how the two teams play each other this year. It gets them in the area code for sure. Again, Tua's development, Tua's ability to rise above what he did last year will be the difference of them getting on the street or not.
Well, and we all know the pressure on Tua, but the thing I've been pointing out, Matt, to people is that this guy's a very accurate quarterback. That's the one benefit. If they say it's not the deep ball, and yeah, if Tyreek gets open, I think he can throw the deep ball fine. But if he throws accurately underneath between Gesicki and now Tyreek Hill along with Waddle, he's not going to have to throw it that deep to find open receivers, I don't think, Matt.
No, and I think people get a little too infatuated with the deep ball, right? If you look at Tom Brady and when he was so successful with New England, the dink and dunk, the Julian Edelman's getting open in the middle of the field. And yeah, you take the deep shots here and there, but they were never a deep ball passing team. And I think you're going to see the same with Tua. Think about how he thrived so well at Alabama, throwing his receivers open, running slants across the field, letting them do the rest of the work. And I think that's all you really need from Tua. Let him throw the 10-yard slant, let him throw the 12-yard hitch, or let him, and then air out the deep ball when it's time to do so. But you can just kill a defense to death by just, the quick slants and the quick throws and just moving the chains throughout the entire time. So I don't think you need a deep ball passer, especially in this offense.
Yeah. I think Tua is a much better deep thrower than people realize. He threw a great deep ball in college, not a good deep ball. He threw a great deep ball. And remember, what's his most famous play? A bomb for a touchdown to win the national championship. I mean, there are very few throws, by the way, in the NFL more than 40 yards. Well, there just are.
Right.
And now he's got an offensive line.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are no excuses for him. That is for sure. As a few people have pointed out, okay, first-time head coach, though. And I know new scheme, and they should be better offensively for a bunch of reasons. But, now, quite frankly, we're all counting on the defense still being just as good. Matt, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Let's face it. Flores is a great defensive mind. We don't necessarily think what's left behind is a great defensive mind.
Yeah, Josh Boyer, right?
Yeah.
and there's been some questions over who was really responsible for that success last year before the end of the season. And some say that Brian Flores took over play calling and defensive scheming. Some say they had Gerald Alexander, the defensive backs coach, be more involved in the game plan, who is now gone. And some say, no, it was Josh Boyer just making the adjustments. And I think the jury is still out, right? Remember, we saw the Dolphins defense kind of struggle that first half of the season, and then all of a sudden something clicked and something turned around. And I think a lot of it's going to be dependent on how much Mike McDaniel gets involved in this. And really, does he let Josh Boyer run that entire defense, which I hope he doesn't. I think head coaches who do that are making mistakes. Or is he going to get involved and kind of work with Boyer and the other assistant coaches on the defensive side of the ball? Remember, they do have Sertain and Madison, and while those names are great, as the players, we'll have to see how that translates to coaching. And so, I think building a little better staff around him helps. And I think it's dependent on how much Mike McDaniel gets involved in the defensive game planning as well.
Matt, when you look at what's happened this offseason and wrap it up with Miami's trade yesterday, David and I have been trade guys for a long time, that these draft picks are a crapshoot. The Rams started it by going all in, and they won a Super Bowl. The Dolphins look like this offseason they're going all in, along with about 7 other teams. How much fundamentally do you think the NFL has changed just in this offseason?
You've seen a lot of trades that you have never seen before, right? And I think, though, you look at the Rams and what they did, and you look at previous draft classes and how they project and how they play out and all of that. And I love what the Rams have done. And I think you're starting to see some teams kind of follow that model, right? Why try to take a chance on an unknown commodity, especially late in the draft, especially like pick 29? if you're picking deeper, like the Rams have always been doing, when you can get proven players who can play, the other side of it is you're playing the salary cap game, right? And eventually that's going to catch up to you. And so do you play the draft pick game or do you play the salary cap game? If I'm a general manager, I'm getting rid of my picks. I'm trading them for proven quality players because you're getting a value on most of them anyways. And why not bring that into your ecosystem and put together a team with people who know how to do it, who have done it, who have proven to be successful. And I think you'll still have your old guard of GMs who have grown up through the systems and say, no, we're going to build through the draft. We're going to build through the draft, especially with the owners that don't want to spend a lot of money. But I think you are also seeing a shift in some way of thinking as well with guys like, I don't think Chris Greer does this trade without Mike McDaniel. And I think Mike McDaniel is already having an influence on what the Dolphins are doing with his mindset and thinking.
Well, I think Flores influenced Greer as well. So Greer certainly seems a general manager who's willing to let his head coach have at least his say, if not more, in personnel. Yeah. Matt, very quickly, since we know they don't have any draft picks left, do we think the Dolphins are done, or is there more shopping?
So I reached out to one of my best sources yesterday and I said, are the Dolphins done? And he said no. So I don't know what that means. I have not heard anything besides that. So just take that for what it is. But there might be something up their sleeve that might be coming still.
Matt, thanks for making time for us, particularly at this hour. Continued success with Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. Follow Matt on Twitter, Cannata PFN. That's Cannata, 2 N's, 1 T, PFN. Matt, all the best. Thanks again.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network and profootballnetwork.com. They do a great job.
That's your best sneaky find in a while.
Matt Cannata,
yeah.
Pro Football Network. Well, Pro Football Network.
Pro Football Network.
Yes.
And getting Matt, and Matt's been very gracious to us for the past few months, but we think we've been, in the past, we had Clay Travis on when Clay was just doing a show in Nashville.
Right.
I found his Outkick the Coverage website. He had some funny things on there and also said some things that were a little different. And we're like, huh. Right. Before that, we had Colin Cowherd when he first came on ESPN on the show. We had him on as a regular guest. We've been lucky to find some of those. I think Matt's a budding star in the business.
Hope so. Hope it can make it. This time, though, we have to, we used to have Charles Davis on all the time, too.
I know.
Yep. We let that one get away. I don't know if that was us or he got too big.
He got too big, and I think I may have ruined that in an elevator in Detroit. Well, I ran into him after the Michigan State game.
Were you hooked on phonics?
I was doing pretty well. I was in the elevator, and I'm like, and I saw him, Charles Davis. And I said who I was, and I said, you came on our show a million times. I just want to say thank you. And I said, can I buy you a drink? And he's like, I'm actually, because he was going to meet with one of the teams. Whoever the Lions were playing were in that hotel. He's like, I got to go to meetings. I'm like, all right, go do your meetings.
Oh, it doesn't sound like you messed it up.
You never know. Well, he's not been on since.
I love the fact that you said, quote, I was doing pretty well.
I was. It's a hell of a good day.
On the intoxication scale?
My levels were just about right.
Officer's trying to file a police report right now. He's like, was he drunk? I don't know. He's doing pretty well.
Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
He went second, third, with Suarez finished third, and he goes, Dad, they're legit. This guy's got money. I'm telling you right now. And apparently after they went second and third, the owner of the company goes, we're going to win races this year. And I didn't see it because I wasn't watching. It was on the second TV. Jake said he had the car to win. But he goes, if you go watch the end of the race, whoever it was, he shoved Wallace right into the damn wall off the start when they restarted. He just got him the fuck out of the way. And he had enough to catch him, but when they went through a turn, he caught the side that he got brushed on the side. And he goes, it just took all his momentum. Because you'll see it. He goes, you see him get hit.
Right.
You see him get scraped on the side. He goes, he had enough. He goes, when it hit him, he goes, it just killed the car. Pretty good save right there.
Yeah. You know, Adam, that's a good point. Should he go after Miami tickets now instead of Bucks tickets?
There's no secondary market for Dolphins tickets. You got some allergies.
I will say the humidity today, it's a different air.
Well, we've done this, David. We went from nice, hot, no humidity. Today's humid because we're going to get a storm today, and then tomorrow is going to cool off. So this is even when I get it.
Man.
No, because I think Pickett's going to end up going top 10, Klecko. I got a strange feeling.
I love the expression.
That is one great-looking golf hole right there. I mean, it sucks with the Bermuda that it's all burnt out, but man, oh man, is that a pretty golf hole. That's pretty good. That'll work.
I think it won the match. Did it?
That'll work.
So the expression hooked on phonics for getting hammered.
You like that?
I like that.
I had when I was calling games in Nashville, we had a line of Alexander Shinchukov, Mark Tardif, who was a French Canadian who's had horrible English, and Igar Cyprus, who was a Latvian. And I loved, I called them the hooked on phonics line.
That was a missile, by the way. But that's awesome.
What's Beasley Broadcasting doing, sponsoring the T-Wolves Arena?
Really?
Is that what that? No, that was Target. That was a joke.
It was a B. It wasn't a Target. There was a B on the floor. It looked like the same B as the Beasley.
No, that was the Target logo. They were the Target Center. It was the Target logo. Target logo
kind of black logo with a B on it.
It was the
a black logo. It looked like Beats by Dre logo, which is the same B as Beasley.
right,
Yes.
but it also kind of looks like the Target logo.
I think
Black logo with a B.
I think it.
I've just never seen that as a
Right.
Target
I
logo.
know why they made it black and not red, because that's when we go, oh, that's Target.
And the B in the middle of it is what.
But it was at the Target Center.
By the way, you know that Target bought the entire Twins facility near Hammond Stadium. Like, you know how it was CenturyLink?
They bought the naming rights?
Or I don't know. That's what one of the guys told me yesterday at the game.
I thought it got renamed something else last year.
Oh, we're coming back.
CenturyLink is what I thought it was, but I don't know.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. The final hour of Miller and Moulton for those of you in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, and Port Charlotte and Venice. And for those in the 239, we are just halfway home. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Speaking of the bonus hour, Jim Larrnaaga, Miami Hurricanes men's basketball coach, getting ready for his third Sweet 16 since he's become the head coach in Miami. They play the late game tomorrow night against Iowa State, a 10 and an 11. One of them's going to be in the Elite Eight.
Iowa State's the most remarkable team in this tournament. 2 wins last year?
2.
And they're in the Sweet 16.
Right.
It is, I mean, it's Leicester City. It's, this is remarkable of what they've accomplished in a 1-year turnaround.
0 Big 12 wins a year ago. Zip, zilch, nada. And they were like 2-20 something. It wasn't like they had half their season wiped out by COVID or anything like that. I mean, I think they were like 2-24. I mean, they missed like a handful of games, but they were as bad as you could be. They were the worst Power 5 program in the country. It would be the equivalent, Mark, of, Georgetown went 0 for the Big East this year. Put Georgetown next year in a Sweet 16. And Georgetown arguably was better because they had more than 2 wins, but they went 0 for the Big East this year. They were the only, I believe, power conference school, because the Big East is considered power conference in basketball. They were the only power conference school, I believe, that went winless in conference this year. Imagine a year from now, we're talking about Patrick Ewing and Georgetown in the Sweet 16.
Now, different times, transfer portal could turn a roster
Absolutely.
around in a hurry, but you still, 1, have to get the players, 2, have to get them to have some chemistry, and 3, have to win.
Well, also, yeah, transfer portal, but remember, guys want to go where they can what?
Win.
Well, they want to
play first and win
second. And, it's tough to convince a guy, hey, you come here, we can win. And you're like, dude, come on now. You don't have to lie to me. I mean, if you give me 25 minutes, that's good enough. But come on, win. I mean, you're Iowa State. We won 2 games last year.
By the way, what a kick that's got to be to McCaffrey. Has that great season, wins the Big Ten tournament. Iowa State sitting around the Sweet 16.
Yep. Would have been something if Penny had taken Memphis to the Sweet 16, and there's Rick Barnes home once again the first weekend. That's it. Just take a look at your brackets from now on. Where's Rick Barnes? Where's Fran McCaffrey? Just run. Stay the heck away.
No arguments from me. I backed Barnes.
I backed McCaffrey this year.
And it did not work out for either of us.
Did not.
We get going Sweet 16 tonight.
South and West, San Antonio, San Francisco is where we go. We got a headliner early. I think Michigan Villanova has more national appeal than Arkansas Gonzaga. Yes, no?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, there's a lot of Michigan fans.
Yeah.
Coast to coast.
Mm-hmm.
I, by the way, love the Wolverines tonight, +5.
Okay.
And in fact, there's part of me that thinks Michigan's going to the Final Four. And I was looking at the numbers earlier in the show going, +1,100? Really? So tonight, as you mentioned, Arkansas, the two early games, Arkansas and Gonzaga, that's the first game. The Zags are a 9.5-point favorite. Michigan and Nova, that's the other early game. Nova's a 5-point favorite. Texas Tech is a 1-point favorite over Duke in the first late game. And Arizona just a 1.5-point favorite. What the hell am I reading? 1.5-point favorite over Houston.
Here's
that one. I mean, the Zags are laying 9.5. And Arizona's only laying 1.5 against Houston.
Well, and the other thing is ESPN has that BPI, which basically is like, hey, the percentage chance we think you have of winning this game. They have Houston with a 61% chance of winning this game against Arizona, the consensus number 2 team in the country, and obviously the 1 seed in that region. And the Cougars were a 5. So that's interesting. Getting back to Michigan, though, Mark. It's a nice little stat. It includes this year's tournament. So we go all the way back to the 2013 tournament, which is the year FGCU made the run to the Sweet 16 as a 15 seed. But 2013 tournament through now, although I guess you could argue, we lost a year due to the pandemic, so maybe this goes back to 2012. But this stat is, at this moment in time, most NCAA tournament wins the last 10 years. There's a 3-way tie for third. Duke, Carolina, and Villanova.
Okay.
All with 20 tournament wins. So they average going to the Sweet 16. They win 2 games, they get to the second week. 2 programs with more wins over the last 10 years in the tournament than Duke, Carolina, and Nova. Care to name them?
Gonzaga and Michigan.
Boom, boom. The Zags with 24 wins. Still looking to cut down the nets. 24 wins in the tournament. Michigan with 23.
Because I had just seen something that Michigan has more wins than both Michigan State and Kentucky. So I was pretty sure the Big Blue were on there, or the Blue. The Big Blue, obviously, is Kentucky. I don't want to get them upset at me right now.
Kansas,
they're still having a tough enough time. The fact they lost.
Yeah, exactly. We mentioned the 3-way tie for third between Duke, Carolina, and Nova. So essentially, the tie for 6th is Kansas and Kentucky with 18 tournament wins. Michigan State with 16. Wisconsin 15. That rounds out your top 10. Florida, by the way, just missing the top 10. They've got 13 tournament wins.
Well, it'd help if they get back in the
during that
tournament.
time. Yes. Well,
one way to improve upon that number: be eligible to get a win.
Yeah, that is.
Stay away from the NIT.
That is true. And then when you get to the tournament, it helps if you win. It does. Only made it to the second week once, I believe, in the last 8 years. But well, that's a sore point. Miller and Moulton here on this Thursday. So Jim Larrnaaga coming up top of the hour. For those of you that can't hear it, maybe there'll be a way for you to hear that interview. Certainly, you can download our podcasts, floridasportsnetwork.com, millerandmoulton.com, and you can hear the interview with the Canes head coach if you don't get our bonus hour. Big story of the day, Tyreek Hill, a Miami Dolphin. Focus of our poll question. So what's your thoughts on the Dolphins now? Super Bowl contender? Just a playoff team? Yeah, same old Dolphins.
Do you realize that at this moment in time, playoffs has same old Dolphins beat by 1.4 percentage points?
That's unbelievable.
Pretty decent vote. And as you know, some of the answers on the Gator Nation on Twitter says, went 8-9 with no weapons and no offensive line. Both have been addressed, so Super Bowl contenders doesn't seem to be far off.
Well, they went 9-8, actually.
I might have had my own dyslexia there because that's what he typed.
Oh, okay.
I do laugh. It's if it doesn't work out with Tua, well, Tom Brady is a free agent next year, is what John says to us.
Could it be player part owner? Is that if the rumors were true?
And then Guy says the following: my heart has been here too many times. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 67 times, shame on me. Let's see week 8.
I do think, though, and if you missed the start of the show, young Felipe, all of 21, and he's like, this is the most exciting off-season moment in my life. You know, he mentioned the Ndamukong Suh signing, which is interesting. I mean, it was a big signing.
He mentioned it as the biggest signing they've had since he's become a Dolphin fan, and I think I think his point is true. It was for a defensive player, and it was a terrible signing.
Yeah, I was 3 years old when Ricky Williams came to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So,
and I think this is the biggest offseason move since they gave up the 2 first-round picks to add Ricky Williams to a team that had gone to the playoffs 5 out of the last 6 years. I mean, the Dolphins were a good team in the early 2000s. Dave Wanstead had back-to-back 10-plus win seasons, had gone to the playoffs twice, won a playoff game, the last time they've won a playoff game, by the way. And they thought, you know what? We're missing a true weapon on offense. We're pretty pedestrian. Let's go out and get Ricky. Now, the problem was they Jay Fiedler was the quarterback. That's not going to win big games. And they really didn't have a wide receiver. I mean, I think Aronde Gadsden was like his best receiver. So they just didn't have enough.
And that's what Native Son says. What happened the last time we made a high-profile trade and gave up a crap ton of draft picks? I would argue you didn't give up a crap ton of draft picks. And I like any time we can go with crap ton of draft picks in the show. You gave up a first and a second for Tyreek Hill. Really and truly, if you're going to harp on the 2 fourths and a sixth, then I think we have to have a separate conversation of what you think the draft really is. And you think more highly of it than I do. Because 2 fourths and a sixth might be 2 players on your team. Might be 2 players on your team.
Tyreek Hill is a 5th rounder.
True. But he was a 5th rounder, not in talent. He was a 5th rounder because of off-the-field issues in college. If Tyreek Hill did not have those issues, he's likely a first-round pick, no worse than an early second, despite how small he was and is. I think this is different, though. Yes, you said, by the way, Ricky gave the Dolphins 2 great years before he retired. Take a look at his numbers. Ricky Williams was amazing for the Dolphins. Amazing. He was great. He was basically 100 yards a game. And he was an awesome blocker and receiver out of the backfield. Ricky Williams was tremendous for the Dolphins in those 2 years. Ricky is not the reason that those Dolphins teams did not go to the playoffs and win.
And he was on the front cover of EA Sports NFL Street.
Well, there you go.
There's that.
I mean, yeah.
But now the Dolphins haven't had weapons like this since, quite frankly, Marino in his heyday. I mean, now these guys need to become the next Duper Clayton. I mean, Hill and Waddle need to become Duper and Clayton. And it's up to Tua and Mike McDaniel to make it happen.
And they've got Gesicki. They went out and got running backs. They went out and got a guard and a tackle. If you're a Dolphin fan and you're not fired up right now, I don't know what it's going to take. There's no way you can be excited about the offseason if you're not excited right now. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Back with more right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know how many points Kyrie Irving has in his last 4 games?
No, I don't, Felipe, but I'm guessing you're going to tell me.
175.
That's fantastic. That means he averaged 44.
Right.
That's fantastic.
What's her record in those 4 games?
I know that's the most in a 4-game span by Brooklyn Nets.
What's their record?
Oh, I think
what's the
team's
team's record?
Their record.
1-3?
I think it's 2-2.
Oh, okay.
Might be 2-2. I can't believe they lost last night. Desmond Bain did go off though. Let's see. 3-1.
They had won 3 in a row.
Before last night. They beat Charlotte, Philly, and Orlando.
Yeah, but remember, he didn't play all on the road.
And he didn't play it
all on the road, yes.
Okay.
Oh, he did? Oh, okay.
This is so weird.
Yeah, Hobbs, I got you. It's not criticism. And literally, if I had the time and day to do all this crap, I would. But by the time the show ends, the last thing I need to do is sit for an hour and a half in front of a computer and upload interviews that 4 people are going to watch. And Hobbs, you're 100% correct.
Wow,
but I don't care because I did it every day for months and it didn't add the people the way it should. So, not to mention that everybody has told me YouTube monetization is terrible now. So,
yeah, I mean, if we're not going to get paid, we're providing them with content and we're not getting compensated for it.
No way that was said, DC. Rachel Nichols saved your career. Come on now. Let's not. There's no way. And then Butler lunged. Oh. You probably just got sacked. Have you guys ever heard of Ballsack Sports?
I have not.
There's a Twitter account that just blatantly posts fake reports under the alias of Ballsack Sports. And they have had people on ESPN report those reports. And it's like, you just got sacked. Kendrick Perkins is a regular victim.
Couple of little today was the days. Because there's this day in sports clips. Just way off the beaten path. Today in 2001 was Randy Johnson killing the bird.
Oh, gotta include that
today
one.
in 17, Florida gets. I don't think this is worthy. What's it? Is it Chioza? Hits a 3 to beat Wisconsin in the Sweet 16 at the buzzer.
Oh, that's for the Gators.
Yeah.
What year was that?
That was in 17, 5 years ago. And in 2001, Tiger would make a 60-footer on 17 to go on to win the Players.
Oh, that's it.
Better than most.
Better than most.
Can you give me volume on my computer?
Better than most.
Can you give me volume on my computer?
I got you.
Usually does extra. Johnny, that's better than most. How about in? That is better than most. Better than most.
I've got that queued up for the record. I don't know how long I'll save it there.
For today was day one?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you can turn that off now. Thank you.
Yep. That's an iconic clip. Glecko, yeah, man. As soon as he came in, he instantly made an impact. He pretty much saved basketball in the University of Miami. Wow. Andre Iguodala's son is 15, and he's as tall as him. That's pretty crazy. Canada, I'm on the fence between Waddle or Hill, but I think I'm leaning more towards Waddle just because it would have the word Waddle on it. All right, we're coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Soren, Petro, in 15 minutes time, we'll head out to Kansas City. We'll get the mood, and we'll get the sense of whether or not this is going to work out for the Chiefs. They didn't have to make this deal. They could have kept Tyreek for one more year and tried to keep him in the fold and maybe do the franchise tag thing, and he probably wouldn't have wanted to play for it, and things could have gotten ugly. But the Chiefs playing the long game, Mark.
They are. They got Juju in free agency, still very young. I don't trust him. You don't trust him.
Well, and I don't trust him as a one at all. Now, I thought he had a chance, kind of like a Valdez-Scantling playing in a Green Bay offense in which we all know all the attention is going to Devontae, and then Aaron can dump the ball off to his backs, and you're getting single coverage, and you haven't seen a safety in 3 months. I mean, I thought Juju would thrive in a Kansas City offense with Kelsey and Tyreek getting all the attention. Now you're doubling Kelsey, and you could put the number one corner right now on Juju Smith-Schuster. That's a totally different ball game. So we'll see whether or not. I mean, I gotta think. Jarvis Landry, Odell? I mean, don't you have to dip your toes in these waters if you're Kansas City?
I think they need one more. I mean, they've got
Nicole Hardeman.
Hardeman.
Been waiting on him for a while now.
I know.
I mean, if you couldn't break out when you're the number 3, 4 weapon, now when you're counted on to be the number 2 weapon, you're going to break out. Also, Mahomes is going to have to develop some trust in you. I mean, we all know.
That's because Mahomes didn't trust anybody on that team that wasn't named Kelsey or Hill, period.
No.
I mean, when it came down to it, that's who he threw to.
Right.
And half the time, they looked as if they were broken plays, and Mahomes basically, Kelsey, go run to an open area and I'll find you.
They're going to have to play a little less street ball now. I mean, Kansas City has played more and more street ball, if you will, with that offense.
While I think that the pressure on Tua is going to be significant this year,
sure,
I think the pressure on Mahomes is the biggest in the league going into the year. How can it not be?
Wow, biggest in the league.
Yeah.
That's a big statement right there. I'm thinking about it. You think there's more pressure on Mahomes than there is Aaron Rodgers?
I do.
I don't. Aaron's got to get them back to a Super Bowl. If the Chiefs fall short of the Super Bowl this year, I think people go, hey, you've had a good run. And it can still continue.
Okay, but we've already put Mahomes early, and this is what we do, and I don't mean you and I, David, but as a national audience, we've already put Mahomes in the same exact sentence as Brady and Rodgers for whatever reason.
Well, that's a Tony Romo thing. All right. Tony Romo, 2 Super Bowls ago, was already talking about Mahomes and his legacy, and could he win more Super Bowls than anybody else? And that's a Romo thing.
Well, but the national media picked up on that narrative, and I think that will be one of the narratives going to the season. You may be right that it's Aaron Rodgers, because of the NFC and the quality of one conference versus the other. But I'm telling you, if Kansas City's not back in an AFC championship, Mahomes is going to be the reason that people are blaming them.
Or will it be Andy? Because, I mean, Andy controls the personnel decisions there. I mean, you know, the GM makes the calls and this, that, but nothing happens there without Andy's say. So Andy, which is interesting. I mean, Andy's not young, and that Andy decided to take a step back, to try to take a step forward, or at least get back to what you were. You know, Travis Kelce's not 27. I mean, I think he's 33 this season. Now, he's a Hall of Fame tight end and what have you, but at some point you start to, you know, has Travis Kelce peaked is what I'm asking. I think that it's fair to say yes. And that maybe this is the last great year for Travis Kelce before you start to get diminishing returns. You know, even Gronk, as great as he is, I mean, we can go back and pinpoint this was his last holy blank year. He's been very effective and very good, and goodness knows if Brady had to complete a pass to save his life, he'd look for Gronk and complete the pass. But, I mean, he's not the player that he was 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Speed doesn't last forever.
Yeah, and he's had injuries and the whole deal. I mean, Travis Kelce gets beat up. Travis Kelce blocks.
Travis Kelce blocks.
I mean, he doesn't block like Kittle, but he blocks.
Well, that's also because they don't run the way that they run in San Francisco. I mean, Kittle's forced to block because they actually do this crazy thing called run the damn ball, David. Right. I thought you would be aware of that.
And it's so crazy when they gain 6 yards on first down, they'd run it again on second.
Nuts.
Right. Kansas City, it doesn't matter. 8 yards on first down. That was great. That's cute. Let's throw it.
Let's throw it. So that's another big difference with the blocking. But you are right. And ultimately, I may have to tip my hat to you that Rodgers has slightly more pressure than Mahomes. But when you've been to the AFC Championship games as many years in a row as Mahomes, that's what's expected of you. That's what's going to be expected in Kansas City. And if they don't get there, the blame will be on him. More than even Andy Reid, David.
All right.
We blame quarterbacks more quickly than we blame coaches, particularly with a quarterback with this much success.
I felt a very interesting question asked last hour in our Twitch chat room. And by the way, if you don't take in Miller and Moulton on Twitch, try it.
What's the matter with you?
Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. It is free.
It's free.
I mean, not that you need to see the two of us. I mean, you know, we're both wearing dark shirts today, though.
Looking very slim.
As slim as humanly possible. Anyway,
stealth, some might even say.
Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. But the question was asked, you know, if by chance you're starting to get all excited about the Dolphins and their moves and how they look on paper, how many teams do you think are better than them in the AFC West?
It is a remarkably good question. Because if you said all of them,
which some might say,
how inaccurate would that be?
I mean, Denver won 7 games last year. Denver's had 4, 5 consecutive losing seasons. Dolphins are actually coming off 2 consecutive winning seasons. Yet they are thought of as about one level ahead of belly button lint. I mean, that's really the Dolphins' perception right now amongst national fan bases. Oh, the Dolphins? Whatever. So if the Dolphins were added to the AFC West and it was a 5-team division this year, where is it you think they would be?
And it would be tough to have them better than 3rd.
I think you could literally and I'm not a cop-out guy, but like, you know, we had a gentleman in our Twitch chat room said, I really think the Chiefs are going to finish 4th in the West. I'm telling you, I think they're going to finish 4th. They're losing Tyrann Mathieu. They just traded away Tyreek Hill. He's like, they're going to take a step back.
One of their linemen in free agency.
Yeah. I said, I think they're going to take a step back. And they weren't that far ahead of them last year.
The LA Chargers have gotten better, period. The Raiders have gotten better. And Denver's got Russ.
Hey, for all the people that don't have faith in the Dolphins, Why do you have faith in the Chargers? What have they done in the last 20 years that gives you faith in the Chargers?
They've disappointed desperately. I finally I had my Fran McCaffrey moment with the Chargers last year. I gave up on the Chargers finally.
You know, you and I are going to get burned by this year, right?
By the Chargers?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
The minute we say you're dead to us.
I did it last year. They were dead to me last year. Problem is, those powder blues are sweet.
They are.
You can't abandon the powder blues forever.
If the Dolphins were to wear the old aqua jerseys and the Chargers would always wear the powder blues, you'd root for that to be the AFC Championship game every year.
Marino and Fouts?
Soren, Petro. Next, Miller and Moulton. David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, the Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Just making small talk. He said, "How's it going?" I said, "Well, we're talking sports for a living. How bad can it be?" He goes, "Yeah, that's what I want to do." I go, "Yeah, don't." I go, "There's no money."
What are you doing?
I don't know.
What are you doing?
I don't know. It's like,
What do you go away?
is this your mug shot?
Go away.
What?
You can type.
No, there he is. No Dolphin stuff though. No,
That's 2 balls.
no.
Give me that.
That's not juggling.
Yeah. If I can catch, I can do it. I can't catch the ball.
Juggling 2 balls. He calls that juggling. That's pathetic.
2 balls with 1 hand.
No, not you. I meant him.
Who knows what he is? Would you quit encouraging him, Paul?
Paul, buy me a Tyreek Hill Dolphins jersey, please.
Oh my God.
Old school.
Now you're asking for people to buy you $200 jerseys. Holy cow.
At least it's not a hockey jersey. I want to play hockey one day.
Can you skate?
Yeah, I can skate. I can do a little hockey stop, you know. Now, if I do it too
We are
fast,
something, Adam. I don't know if we're the adult Goonies. We're definitely something. No, Philly will be at TJ Maxx looking for
what?
Devontae Parker jersey that should be available cheap pretty soon.
Sports Radio 810.
There it is. Didn't have it pulled back far enough.
Yeah, I missed the tweet. What did it say? I thought The Godfather was a day or two ago.
Yeah, you did that the other day.
I thought it was yesterday. That's what someone told me.
Yeah, well, we did it.
Yeah,
We said it.
I remember.
That was his tweet, a Brian Cox jersey.
Playoffs or Tua is gone.
No, I think he was talking about.
Didn't even touch him. Did not even touch him.
What was Mahomes' contract?
It was
400
basically
400 million,
10
right?
For 10 for 450, wasn't it?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Bonus hour, top of the hour, Jim Larrnaaga, Canes basketball coach. They're in the Sweet 16 tomorrow night. The only thing that stands between them and the Elite Eight, Iowa State. Of course, Iowa State's thinking the same thing. The only thing that stands between us and the Elite Eight's Miami, a 10 seed. Soren Petro is kind enough to join us once again. Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City. Follow Soren on Twitter at SOREN Petro. Soren, it's David and Mark. How's life in the pursuit of happiness?
Oh, it's slow times. Nothing to talk about. You mentioned that 10-11 matchup. Kansas suddenly seeing Providence, and then a 10-11 to get to the Final Four. No pressure there. And then so a six-time All-Pro wide receiver, or a six-time Pro Bowl, three-time All-Pro wide receiver was traded. So just trying to find something to talk about here in KC.
Exactly, as we are down here in Florida as well, Soren. First off, just how much of a surprise did this catch everyone by? I know there was some different, whether tweets or Instagram posts that Tyreek had made over the past 10 days, but this caught us a little out of the blue. I'm just curious, how much did it catch Kansas City out of the blue?
I think more so outside of Kansas City, and you know, I don't say this to brag because we actually took a lot of grief for it. Maybe more so if you weren't a regular listener to our show, because we've talked about this in a podcast I do with Eric Eager from Pro Football Focus and Jeff Chadia from the NFL Network. We've discussed it here for a little while. I think the seeds of this were sown last off season when the Chiefs were trying to maneuver things around and create room to rebuild the offensive line, sign Joe Tooney, trade for Orlando Brown. You know, Patrick Mahomes rolled back his roster bonus. Chris Jones rolled back his roster bonus. And the Chiefs went to Tyreek Hill and asked him to renegotiate his deal. Not extend it, just renegotiate it to create some more room. I don't think it would have cost him any money. But basically, he and Drew Rosenhaus said, no, not going to happen. If you want to do that, let's talk extension. And with 2 years left on the deal at a very affordable price, the Chiefs weren't willing to do that. Tyreek Hill wasn't willing to renegotiate the deal to create the room. And he kind of said, okay, here we go. This is the game. It's going to come to a head next year. Tyreek Hill's not going to play that last year on his deal, and the Chiefs are going to have to get something done next offseason, or he's not going to be back, and he's certainly not going to be in camp. So, you know, for me, for a lot of us, I think we knew this was coming, and I think especially when they took a run at getting him extended here a couple of weeks ago, the word was it was going well, right? 21.5, 22.5, maybe 23 million was the word, and the Christian Kirk deal came down. That kind of changed things, and then Devontae Adams' deal at $28 million just blew it up, and I think it started to become much more apparent that a trade was a realistic possibility.
How's it going over?
You know, initially poor. You know, the early hours yesterday before it was official, and people are hearing the Jets, and so they connect dots and say, well, it's number 4 and number 10. That seemed to be palatable. It was never a possibility. I've spoken with folks. The Jets never had a number 1 on the table. They had 2 very high 2s, which isn't much lower than what the Dolphins were at with the number 29 pick. But you know, it was never. You know, the imagination had it a little bit more palatable, and people maybe being accepting. I think when it first happened, there was that kind of finality of it. Oh my God, this is a great weapon. I mean, even though a lot of people knew this, you know, was becoming a possibility, the finality of it, I think, kind of punched some people in the face. But you know, I think those that are hardcore football fans that dive into the draft, that dive into the cap, especially, recognize what's going on. The Chiefs were up against it cap-wise, and they had a player that was asking for $30 million, and it was just going to be very difficult for the Chiefs to get there. And, you know, what it was going to take, rolling back Mahomes again, rolling back Chris Jones, his cap number would have been $38 million next year. You know, the Chiefs came into it, something we've talked about a lot on our show. They came into free agency with the 23 cap being already over $200 million and only 18 players under contract. And so, you know, when you looked at the secondary, there's only one guy going into this offseason before they re-signed Justin Reed. There's only one guy, L'Jarius Sneed, under contract in the entire secondary, right? And so when you dive into it and you see where they were going to be in 23, it was either going to be a really hard crash, a Saints-like crash, maybe a Seahawks-like crash going on next year if they didn't start making changes this year. So I think, you know, for a lot of the hardcore fans, the writing was on the wall that something was going to have to give in this offseason, or it was going to be very, very painful in 23.
All right, just, you know, I made the comment, and David stopped me, and he may be right that Aaron Rodgers has the most pressure on him this season. But if he does, Patrick Mahomes has the second most pressure on him. Do you agree with that?
From a national perspective or a local perspective?
From a national perspective.
You know, I don't know. I mean, you know, Russell Wilson's getting a team that everybody says the roster is ready to go. There you have the last place schedule, which I can tell you, if you look at the Super Bowl odds, is a big advantage for you know, the Super Bowl odds of all the opponents is a big advantage for the Broncos compared to the Chiefs. And everyone in the AFC has been making so many moves, particularly the AFC West, that I think that's taken a little heat off him. Now, listen, when you've proven you're as good as he is, and an organization has gone out until they moved Tyreek Hill, but even so, getting Juju Smith-Schuster, adding him to the equation, getting Orlando Brown last year, making sure that he's going to be signed either with the franchise tag or a multi-year deal like the Chiefs would like to get done. You know, yeah, from that standpoint, yes, the cupboard is not bare. His talents say he should succeed, but I think it's been lessened by how good the rest of the AFC has been made. I think everybody is aware that, you know, the AFC is going to be a war this year.
Well, in the West is going to be a war just to get to the rest of the conference. And the Chiefs have dominated this division, as you know, 6 times in a row, winning it. And you know, Soren I know on paper it makes sense to make this move because you're right. Next year could have been a Saints slashing and burning. But I don't see them a Super Bowl contender without Hill. Do you?
I do. The early odds, and I think this may adjust a little bit, but the casinos, like one, I think bet on MGM. I think it is. I had the Chiefs at 9-1, and the Dolphins at 50-1 before the trade. After the trade, they had the Chiefs at 9-1, and the Dolphins at 50-1. I like the Dolphins. I think they're a great value play right there. I'm a little maybe higher on Tua than some people, but I do like what they're doing there. But I think that speaks to the nature. The quarterback is the one spot that can really move the needle. And I think the other aspect of it is, the Chiefs now have the most cap room available. Now we're in the secondary wave of free agency. The top talents are out. But the way I put it to people is, what's a better team? Tyreek Hill and 9 draft picks, 4 of which are in the 7th round, or $20 million cap room, which yesterday they had Marquez Valdez-Scantling from the Packers in, Ronald Jones from the Bucks in. They're looking at veteran defensive linemen. If you added Valdez-Scantling, Ronald Jones, and say a Jadeveon Clowney, and then now you have 12 draft picks, 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd, and 2 in the 4th, to add to that mix, you put that combination of players together, an extra, 1st and 2nd this year is what they get out of that deal. That's the potential for them to add 5 premium players that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So whatever they were going to be with Tyreek Hill, they've got to do the right thing with those draft picks and with the free agent, with the cap room. If they do, I can paint you a very rosy scenario, and maybe it's a one looking through red and gold glasses, but I can paint you a scenario where the Chiefs can be a better football team after trading Tyreek Hill.
We got this text, and I answered it, but I'll ask you because you're in Kansas City, and this person's asked it a few times, and since we have you on, he says, I'll ask again, if the Chiefs don't win another ring with Mahomes, is he worth $500 million? I couldn't type yes fast enough. What's your answer?
Yeah, listen, I got asked a similar question by Bart Scott yesterday. He said, is it going to be a success? Is the career going to be a success? I said, well, where's your starting line? Right? If you go back to before they acquired him, when Andy Reid came on board, when Brett Veach took over as the general manager, it's a franchise that had only been to one AFC Championship game, had never won the Lamar Hunt Trophy, the AFC Championship Trophy, and it bears their founder's name, and it had never resided in their building, and it had been 50 years since they won a Super Bowl. If you start there, then yes, it's a success because the 2 Super Bowl appearances, 4 straight AFC Championship games for a franchise that had only been to the AFC Championship game once since they won the Super Bowl in January of 1970. Yeah, that erases a lot of pain, and so that would be a success. I think it is a valid question, though. Once you have Patrick Mahomes, once you see what he is one Super Bowl enough? Once you've answered that question, once you've solved the biggest riddle that is that's there in the NFL, no, it's not. So if they only win one, I think once you acquired Patrick Mahomes, I don't think it's a success in Green Bay if Aaron Rodgers is done with just one championship. And I think Dolphin fans would agree just one Super Bowl appearance wasn't enough with the talent that Dan Marino had at the quarterback position. So, I think depending upon where you put the starting line, the answer is yes for the franchise overall because of what it did. But big picture, once you knew what you had in Mahomes, no, the Chiefs and Brett Veach and the front office are obligated to put enough talent around him to make sure that it's not just one Super Bowl ring that this franchise gets with him at the quarterback position.
Soren, our poll question is, does this make the Dolphins a Super Bowl contender, just a playoff team, or still same old Dolphins? And same old Dolphins is getting every bit the vote as either of the other two answers. In your estimation, you've seen Hill up close and personal, granted with an elite quarterback, but what do you think this will do to the Dolphins?
Well, I mean, if he's healthy, it certainly helps. Listen, every year for about 3 years, there has been a game or two towards the end of the season where Tyreek Hill's kind of limping around and has this, what was called last year, quote unquote, a recurring heel injury. I'm no doctor, but this seems to be a chronic thing. If that pops up, that's a problem. I will say this: if anybody's going to be blowing defenders' doors off at 32 years old, or 31, which would be the final year of this deal, it's Tyreek Hill, because he is. Listen, you guys have been, well, at least when we could be in there, NFL locker rooms. It's an athletic freak show. He's a freak amongst freaks. I mean, you can just see it when he walks in the room. He's built different from even what are normally what superhuman people. He's beyond that. And so I think there's a lot of potential for him, and I think he's perfect for what Mike McDaniel does. I mean, I can see him in the Deebo Samuel role, and I can see him being even better than what they got from Deebo Samuel. I expect them to run him more, which is something that I've asked for here in Kansas City. So if you're going to win a Joe Flacco style Super Bowl, in other words, if you're going to win a Super Bowl without the Hall of Fame quarterback, I think the Dolphins are amassing the kind of weaponry that would do it, but that's still very, very hard. The good news is, the answer to that is, I mean, if I had to choose, I'd probably say same old Dolphins, but they've certainly improved their chances. But I will say this, the Chiefs' formula with Patrick Mahomes was they had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. They added Sammy Watkins. They made sure they had 2 bookend tackles. They gave him every opportunity to succeed. And Patrick Mahomes did. And I think his confidence grew in leaps and bounds because anything he wanted to do as a quarterback, he could do it because they had all the weapons. And I think the Dolphins are doing something similar. And either Tua's going to, rise to the occasion and prove his talents, or you're going to know for sure after this year, either, you're going to know he is or he is not. You're not going to wonder about it. And if he's not, you'll be in position like the Broncos. If there's a veteran quarterback that wants out, you'll have the kind of roster that a veteran quarterback wants to land. So the answer to that question for this year may be that it's not that much better, but I think it's certainly a step, a big one towards it, either with Tua or with the ability to go out and try to attract a veteran quarterback or draft another young quarterback and have all the weapons there for them to have the chance to succeed initially.
Soren, as always, appreciate your time and your insight. Hope all is well with you and the family, and the basketball season went well. I know you stopped coaching, but that doesn't mean the kids stopped playing. So, I will say you've got a much better voice in March than you've had the past couple of Marches.
That's right. I don't have my Bruce Weber, Tom Izzo scratchy voice. So the voice was say that the record not quite as good, but hey, the girls had a great season and always great being on with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Soren Petro, Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City. Follow him on Twitter, Soren Petro, Soren Petro. Kind enough to join us once again.
Did he just vote same old Dolphins?
He did, and the reason why I wouldn't is I do think that this lifts them above the Patriots right now. I mean, think about how much difficulty New England had defending all of Buffalo's speed. The Dolphins beat the Patriots twice last year, and now the Dolphins have added speed. The Patriots are a slow team, and they've acknowledged that.
I mean, you go 4-2 I think the division helps. The Jets are awful. They're better than the Patriots. If they can go 4-2 in the division, it gives them a huge edge over the Raiders and Chargers and teams like that, because there's going to be a dogfight in some of these divisions. The North and the West both could be a lot of 3-3 divisional teams. That could be the difference between a 7 seed and not making the playoffs.
Flores swept the Jets each of the last 2 years, went 4-2 against the Patriots in his 3-year tenure, but they have no answer for Buffalo right now. That is for sure. Miller and Moulton.
Well, they might not have an answer for it. They at least went out and got things to try to answer questions for Buffalo. Buffalo's clearly better, but the gap's been divided.
Well, although Buffalo's gotten better as well, the first thing they have to do before they beat the Bills, they have to be competitive against the Bills. They haven't even really been competitive against Buffalo. Buffalo just flat lines up and blows them out. So it will be interesting because I think Buffalo's gotten better.
I do too.
So,
but I think I think Miami's improved more than Buffalo has because there was more room for improvement for Miami.
So you think they go to Buffalo and only lose by 17? And I'm not being a jerk because basically they've been going to Buffalo and losing by 5 touchdowns. Miller and Moulton. Jim Larrnaaga to start our bonus hour. Thanks so much for listening. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What was it? Thank you for being on the air.
Thank you card for being back and enjoy you listening and that sort of thing.
And some coupons for hydration or something.
Right.
I don't know.
You can
Knock
take
yourself
those
out.
if you want. All right.
No. It was a thank you card from a listener. I just always am scared that it's going to be a Unabomber when that stuff comes in.
Right. Little white powder.
I just cover up. David opens them right away. I cover up, scared to death.
I figure if it blows up, I'm fat. I'll cushion the blow.
I don't watch any movies. No, I've just been threatened too many times in my life by listeners.
Speaking of threats,
don't ever lose your sense of humor,
that's
Danny.
right.
Don't ever lose your sense of humor.
That Mark Miller.
Do you know that that's the only movie Jim Belushi was any good in? About Last Night. That was his only worthy movie. He was funny in that.
Yeah. MCing the FGC banquet when Andy came back, and they served the same chicken dinner that they always serve, and it was cash bar. And I get up there and I go, we got people literally. Veridel flew in from Switzerland. Okay, Andy, USC agreed to do the game, the whole deal. And I go through all the sacrifices that people made to come here and what have you. I go, and it's good to see that FGC rolled out the red carpet, same rubber chicken and $5 for a Bud Light. And I looked right at Ken Kavanaugh and I go, don't ever change, FGCU. Don't ever change.
Okay. I want to ask Jim a question, but it's about a loss.
No.
Last time they were in the tournament.
This is when it's
no.
You just call them, you put them on the air, and that's what you do.
Say, thanks, coach.
You say thank you, coach.
Thank you, coach.
And you be very, very polite, because what we want to do is get these guys back on again.
Right. You're the best, man.
No.
Yeah.
Thank you, coach.
Yes, thank you, coach.
Exactly. I'm glad you guys see it the same way we did. Like, yeah, no, that's not the road you go down. So listen, about that game 3 years ago. Right.
Unbelievable.
Yep. Yep. He's calling them now, so we'll see if he blows this for us.
Never having him back.
Uh,
Oh, dang it.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. And this is a thrill that Jim Larrnaaga will take time out from his busy schedule to join us here on Miller and Moulton. Of course, the Canes in the Sweet 16 playing Iowa State late Friday night. You can follow the coach on Twitter at Canes Coach L. Jim, it's David and Mark. Thanks so much for your time. How are you?
Yeah, we're in Chicago. We're in the Windy City, and the Hurricanes are going against the Cyclones. So it's going to be some very strong weather.
Thank goodness the game's indoors, Coach.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. First off, congratulations on reaching the Sweet 16. 2 tremendous games. You start out with USC and then Auburn. And boy, oh boy, Coach, just talk about that Auburn game. You took it to them from the word go. I don't want to say it was, but you tell me, as a performance, how did that rank this year of all the games Miami's played? It had to be up there as one of their top performances.
Well, if you're talking about this year, I would say the Auburn game and the Duke game would rank 1, 2. And, you know, when you consider that Auburn at one time was the number 1 team in the country, and for several weeks, and Bruce Pearl has built himself a powerful program there. Our players' execution of our game plan was to perfection. We defended them really well. We defended the big guys, Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler, really well. And then at the other end of the floor, we scored the ball. I mean, we had Charlie Moore at 15 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Isaiah Wong had 21 points. Cam Auguste, 20. Jordan Miller got us off to a great start. The first basket was a alley-oop dunk for Jordan Miller, then a scoop shot to get us off to a very, very good start. So, you know, a great team effort.
Coach, when was the first moment this season when you either said to yourself or you said to an assistant, you go, you know, I think we're going to be pretty good. I mean, you know, sometimes it's an August trip that a team takes. Sometimes it's in a practice. Sometimes it takes place during a game. I'm just curious, the first time that you kind of raised an eyebrow and went, you know, I think we're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm there yet. I honestly, this team is just so much fun to coach, and the guys are so much fun to be around. And then I look at our opponents, and I say, oh, my goodness, they're so big, they're so strong, they're so physical. And I look at our guys as being just a bunch of nice guys. But what they've done, and to answer your question, we lost to Alabama by 30 points in Orlando back in November. And when we came out of that game and prepared to play Penn State in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, we played them on a Wednesday night. And after the game, I said to the coaches, oh, we've just turned a major corner. And they asked me why. I said, well, because all the mistakes we made against Alabama, we quickly corrected against Penn State. And then that Saturday we played Clemson. It was our first ACC game for the season. It was
like December 1st. And it was the same thing. We fell behind, and we had to struggle to fight our way back in. We were down 9 with 5 minutes to go and came back and won that game. So the mental and emotional side of the game, we had really, really been on a roller coaster from the devastating loss against Alabama to the great road victory against Penn State to the first ACC win against Clemson. And we started to do things consistently well. And the credit really needs to go to a guy like Sam Wardenberg, a 6th-year senior captain who's having a great year. He pulled the players all together. They sat and watched game tape without the coaches being there. He had like just a player-only meeting, and that made all the difference in the world.
Iowa State coming up, and now a little bit different. I mean, you were a 10 playing a 7. You were a 10 playing a 2. Now you go into this game at 10 versus 11. I think you're a slight favorite in the game, which hadn't been the case in the first 2. Does the team realize more expectations now? It seems that your team all year has been able to, I don't know if play with a chip on their shoulder, but we've watched. You were leading the ACC, not getting ranked. You were beating good teams, not getting ranked. You were beating more good teams. You were still considered not an automatic qualifier right away. It just seems that nationally, Miami's not gotten a lot of respect. It seems that your club can play with a chip on its shoulder, but now are the expectations higher that you're a favorite in this game?
Well, first of all, going into the NCAA tournament, I sat with the team and my coaching staff and said to them, look, we've been in the NCAA tournament many, many times before. And here's what I always say. There's 68 teams in the field. Every one of them is good. Any one of them can beat you. If you don't play a great game, you're probably going to lose and go home. You have to play so well because your opponent is going to try to play their best game. And we've been fortunate in the first 2 to play really well and win. But Iowa State is just as good a team or they wouldn't be in the Sweet 16. Well, the teams that are in the Sweet 16 have earned their way in. Teams like St. Peter's did not get a bye into the Sweet 16. They had to beat Kentucky to advance. Then Murray State to advance. Oh, you beat a good opponent. You got to get ready for another good opponent. Your seed is irrelevant.
Jim Larrnaaga, men's basketball coach at Miami, having taken the Canes to their 3rd Sweet 16 since he has been the head coach, kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton. I don't know if I can get you to do this, but I'm hoping that you'll take your humble hat off for a moment. You have had tremendous tournament success at Miami and elsewhere. Some terrific coaches can't have tremendous tournament success. Is there something that you think you do, whether in preparation, approach, is there something that you do that you think deep down, I help us win by doing this. I make things better because your teams do well in mid and late March. Do you think that there's something that you do that helps that?
Yes. And I will tell you something that, is maybe something hard for people to understand. The thing that I do personally is spend an inordinate amount of time selecting the right assistant coaches for my staff, trying to find the right guys who know me and can find the right players who fit my style, who will blend into my philosophy in a way that we can be successful, not only during the regular season, but in postseason. I'm going to give you 2 examples. Bill Courtney's on my staff. It's his second stint with me. I hired him at Bowling Green in 1996. So that's 26 years ago. We're like family. We know each other very, very well. When I hired Bill Courtney, I interviewed 27 guys. 27. Because I knew exactly what I was looking for and couldn't find it. And then finally, someone recommended Bill Courtney. I interviewed him. I said, this is the guy. And Bill helped us recruit our Final Four team at George Mason. He went on to become the head coach of Cornell in the Ivy League. He then and is now back on my staff. But he's a brilliant recruiter and tactician, and he always gives me great advice. The second guy I want to tell you about is Chris Caputo, my associate head coach. He's been with me for 20 years. When I was at an all-star game in Connecticut, this college kid comes up to me. He's 20 years old at the time and said, Coach L, my name is Chris Caputo. I went to Archbishop Malloy and played for Coach Curran just like you did. And I want to get into college coaching. And I looked at him and said, well, how old are you? He said, I'm 20. I'm a junior in college at Westfield State University in Massachusetts. Well, I was familiar with Westfield State. So I gave him my card and said, hey, just stay in touch with me, and when the time comes, I'll try to help you. He emailed me. There was no text back then. He emailed me every day for 2 years. He came on my staff as a volunteer. He was a volunteer for 3 years. He made no money. Zero. And yet did a fantastic job. The only thing he could do, he couldn't even get on the court and coach. The only thing he could do is get on the phone and talk to high school and AAU coaches. And he built a network that led to us recruiting those Final Four players. He's done it. I elevated him to a third assistant and second assistant. Now he's my associate head coach. When you have people around you who know you, love you, care about you, and they go out and find the right guys that you can coach and hopefully bring out the best. And then those players not only love my staff, they love each other, they care about each other, they work really, really hard to bring out the best in each other. And that's really what works in postseason. You know, a team that trusts each other and believes in each other.
Coach, thanks for being so forthcoming, and thanks for making time for us. We appreciate it. Enjoy Chicago. We hope it's a weekend-long stay, and hopefully we can talk again sooner rather than later.
All right, guys, my pleasure.
Jim Larrnaaga. He's got Iowa State in the Sweet 16. You know, the Canes have made the Sweet 16 4 times in their men's basketball history. 3 since he's become the head coach.
Can I give you a stat?
Yeah.
I mean, you could almost cue music for this and play a little jingle behind it. It's that good, because the Canes are 7th in the country, averaging just 9.3 turnovers a game. Iowa State, 278th in the country, averaging almost 14 turnovers. To me, that's the game. Iowa State's taking care of the ball in their first 2 games. You'll see the turnover margin a little bit more distinguished, and that'll be the difference for Miami.
Well, that's 5 possessions. And you figure in a very close game, 5 possessions, that could be the difference. Jim Larrnaaga joining us here on Miller and Moulton. That was a treat. Back with more of the show after this here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth. that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hi there.
Surprised he didn't say hi, Scoops.
Let's see. I didn't do that to you.
You want to say hi to the Twitch audience, Scoops? Okay. Ooh, audience just fell apart after that interview. The hell? Rest of the show not good? Marty Smith. Opening the plastic bag inside a cereal box without triggering a party favor explosion of Captain Crunch all over the kitchen floor is an Olympic sport. I'd say I've done that a few times. By the way, Scoops, softball didn't win. Ice cream employee won. But several people have told me, in fact, one guy said on our baseball team, our first baseman was always called Scoops. It's a term of endearment. It's not mean, Maddie. I just want you to understand that. You know, I can just turn the camera around and put it on you if I want. No. What do we got? Maggie, Magic and Animal Friends?
Why do you say Maggie?
Oh, we got a guess. Hi.
There you go. You can be nice. I know. Now just be quiet.
Scoops has arrived.
Al Oliver's nickname was Scoop? Oh, Maddie, I loved Al Oliver. No, we just have a mitt now. We're in U8 softball. We're not worried about more mitts right now. We got to worry about catching consistently, right, kiddo?
Fam, I took a bathroom break. Sorry.
The Ute is actually named Scoop? That's funny.
Oh, the Utes. That's got to be one of the best mascots.
Swoop, not Scoop. Swoop.
Ten seconds.
Does Teddy Bruschi look like he should be doing ads next to Tony Robbins?
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Dominant topic today, Tyreek Hill, Miami Dolphin. How much of a difference, impact do you think that he will make? That's our poll question. When you look at the Dolphins now, what do you see? What do you see? What is your level of expectation? Legitimate Super Bowl contender. Remember, the Bengals went to the Super Bowl. A 10-win regular season team, by the way. Do you see just a playoff team? Hey, it'll be nice to have them back in the playoffs. I see a playoff team. Or do you go, I got to be honest. New coach. Not sold on Tua. I mean, they'll be a little more entertaining to watch, but same old Dolphins.
And for the first time today, playoffs is now under 50%. It had been pretty much over 50% the whole show. Same old Dolphins, as the show goes on, is just giving playoffs a hell of a run. It's like 48% to 45%. The rest have it as Super Bowl contender.
It's remarkable.
There's part of me that wants to change my pick from playoffs to Super Bowl contender because I'm trying to figure out what the difference is right now. Every time you say, remember, the Bengals went to the Super Bowl last year.
Of the 14 teams that made the playoffs last year, and this isn't, being able to look back knowing how it was going to play out. Of the 14 teams, there were 12 that we legitimately thought, they can go to the Super Bowl. I mean, the Eagles we didn't think could win 3 games in the NFC, and we didn't think the Steelers could.
Well, I didn't think we thought the Bengals could either. We gave them a little bit of tap on the head love because they had beaten Kansas City a few weeks prior.
Yeah, but I think because of Burrow, we gave them a puncher's chance in a playoff game, if you know what I mean.
If that's the case, then I need to change because of a puncher's chance, and I'm not trying to be smart, if a puncher's chance is what qualifies, then if Miami makes the playoffs, they got a puncher's chance.
Well, but I think there are teams that qualify for the playoffs in which you go, yeah, if they win one game, then that's maxing out versus teams that make the play, like the Niners.
Well, like the Raiders last year. If they'd have won one game, that was maxing out to me.
But see, to me, the Raiders could beat anybody. The Raiders have beaten the Chiefs before. The Raiders went on the road and beat Dallas. They beat Indianapolis at the times that the Cowboys and Colts were better than them. Like, to me, you get the Raiders in a game. They've got weapons. They've got a top 12 quarterback. I think the Raiders are a live play against anybody. Like, the Steelers couldn't beat a good team last year. They didn't have it. Ben was shot. They still can't really block. Okay. Pittsburgh could not go on a run. The Eagles could not go on a run. But I thought when we looked at the other 12, we're like, they can beat people. They got talent.
And I remember after the first round sitting there saying that the AFC Championship was taking place in Kansas City between the Chiefs and Buffalo. So I wasn't as optimistic as you were about a lot of teams.
And maybe that's why we said earlier in the show, you think that there are 4 teams in which their fan bases can legitimately be like, hey, man, it's Super Bowl or bust.
The 3 NFC teams, Bucs, Packers, and Rams, and the Buffalo Bills.
Wow, when's the last time the Bills fan was in that situation?
And they know they're in it, too. The Buffalo fan this offseason's changed a little bit because they're like, it's no more honeymoon. It's like, I need this, I need this, I need this.
Well, they're angry. Come on. I mean, they saw how that game ended, and they're thinking, we were going to beat Cincinnati, then we were going to go. They watched the Rams team, and they're like, if we had gotten there, we would have won. So they can taste it. Never mind just the hunger because they've never won it. You've got that along with the fact that they look at their team. If I was a Bills fan, Mark, I would say, we screwed last year up. First off, how in the world we weren't the 1 seed's ridiculous. In the division that we're in with the team that we had, how did we lose this many games?
How did you lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars?
And at home week 1 to the Steelers. Honestly, if I'm a Bills fan, I'm looking at and that's what these guys should also be saying. The road should go through us.
No doubt. Well, and you will also admit week 1, we know we throw week 1 out. Strange stuff happens week 1. But that Jags loss is what cost them.
Big time. Big time. But also, and then you get to how they blew that playoff game. And you're thinking, if you're the Bills and a Bills fan, you're thinking, man, we screwed this up. This really was ours for the taking. While the Bengals made all the clutch plays during the playoffs. The Bills' theme of 2021 was, we got in our way.
Got in the way of a number 1 seed.
And then we screwed up a playoff game. How do you have a lead with 13 seconds to go and give up the 2 plays that we gave up and then end up losing this game? This is ridiculous. We should have been hosting the AFC title game. How did we blow this?
And I don't know if there is another team in the AFC right now that can go into the season with any type of thoughts that the Bills should be having.
I agree with that.
Even Cincinnati.
Now, I will say, everything I've just said about Buffalo should be said about Green Bay. It should be. That's how they should look at it. They should go, how did we screw that up? For goodness sakes. We couldn't beat a 6-seeded team who needed an overtime win in week 17 to get into the playoffs? And how do we keep losing home playoff games, for goodness sakes, when we're the quote-unquote better team?
Difference is that you look at Buffalo and you can clearly see where Buffalo is a better team right now than the team that lost in the playoffs. I don't think it's arguable. Whereas with Green Bay, it's clearly arguable that this team right now is not as good as the team just a year ago. Now, the good news for Green Bay is that nobody in the division's done a whole hell of a lot to make themselves look any better.
Oh, I don't know if anyone in the conference has.
Well, but you have to start, and you're right. But you have to start with the division, because in order to get the 1 seed, what Green Bay needs to do is go no worse than 5-1 in their division. Well, there's nothing standing in the way of that right now.
Well, they certainly should go 4-0 against the Bears and the Lions.
Yes.
Then lose the game in Minnesota, which they seemingly lose 2 out of every 3 years, and there you have it. But also now, if I'm a Green Bay fan, I'm like, listen, I'm not even going to get all bent out of shape about the 1 seed anymore, because clearly it doesn't matter. I mean, we've been the 1 seed the last 2 years. We've lost at home.
And even last year, when the 1 seed was thought to be worth so much more, going to 7 playoff teams and only 1 team getting the bye.
I mean, we were the 1 seed in 2011. We went 15-1 in the regular season. We lost to a 9-7 team, for goodness sakes, in the playoffs at home. So if I'm a Packers fan at this point, it's Super Bowl or bust. And to be honest with you, don't even tap me on the shoulder till Christmas. I'm not interested. This regular season stuff bores the heck out of me.
Well, and there's part of me, unless an injury or a team comes out of nowhere, how uninspiring is the whole season of the NFC going to be? Because when you look at the three teams that we want, the only time it's going to make a difference if one of them's not in the postseason.
Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, and some final thoughts. The Sweet 16, after all, gets underway later tonight. Is it Coach K's last game? Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening here on the Florida Sports Network. David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What a great day. I won't go this far. National Chocolate Covered Raisin Day, could care less. National Cheesesteak Day and National Cocktail Day. Huh. It's a hell of a day, David. Get out. See what he just tried to walk on camera with?
He shows up at FGCU games like that.
Yeah. This isn't an FGCU. This is not an FGCU game in the crowd.
Why?
This is a professional radio show.
No.
Did you see Felipe? Did you see him? Doesn't he look like a goofball? Did you have Elvis Enters the Army today?
Yeah, I got it here. Yes. I even have a serial number.
Godfather opens in theaters today is what I'm seeing in 72, but it wasn't on the other one. That's really weird.
Canada, it's not whether I'll be awake or not. It's whether I'll watch it or not. And I probably won't. Or it'll be on TV C, maybe B.
Godfather was released today. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. So it was released on March 14th in one theater. It was released nationwide today.
Gotcha.
Wherever the Lowe's State Theater, New York City, which is no longer there. No, it is. Okay. The Lowe's State Theater, New York, opened the 14th, opened nationwide today.
Nationwide when? 72?
72.
Right, but I believe the first thing you said was Godfather.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
The home stretch of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. Pretty good little sports night with the tournament back in action. Sweet 16 action, 4 games for you. South region, Michigan Nova early, Arizona Houston late, West region, Arkansas and Gonzaga early, Texas Tech and Duke late. Duke an underdog, albeit slight. So the bettors in Vegas saying that Coach K's career ends tonight.
We can only hope.
Oh, come on. Since they've gotten this far, don't you want to see him at least get to an Elite Eight?
No.
You'd rather see Texas Tech. Texas Tech.
David, every
Saturday
time
night.
they win, it means they could win again.
That's true. That's true. Time now for
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul, to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When.
Can you do this whole segment without looking up?
Listen, I've already seen Felipe in his astronaut mask fake helmet before. He actually has worn it out in public. He sat in the stands for an entire FGCU game dressed like it was Halloween.
And most of his friends left him, right?
Only one stayed. And I told Felipe, you remember who that person is. That's who you call at 3 a.m. from the police station. That's the guy you take a bullet for right there. Everybody else,
It's cozy in here.
It was 185 years ago today that Canada gave its black citizens the right to vote. 1837. We were just a little behind the times on that one.
Just a touch.
Yeah. We got that one wrong, I think it's fair to say. 1936, the Red Wings beat the Montreal Maroons.
What a maroon.
1-0 in the sixth overtime. Late in the sixth overtime, too. 3.5 minutes left in the sixth overtime. They were 3.5 minutes shy of playing 3 complete games. I believe it's the longest game in Stanley Cup playoff history. Still.
I would hope so.
1956, the original USF, San Francisco, the University of, beat Iowa 83-71 to win the national championship. They went back-to-back. They had a couple of guys on the team that you might have heard of. Bill Russell and Casey Jones.
Huh.
Yeah, Dons were pretty good there in the mid-'60s. And then they went to the Celtics, and they just stopped winning.
Right.
Right.
Never heard from them again.
Right. Elvis joined the Army on this day in 1958. Elvis's serial number was 533-10761. That's all he was. He went from Elvis Presley to just being a serial number.
Yeah, right.
1962, Cincinnati beats Ohio State 71-59. The Bearcats go back-to-back. However, Mark, you could argue the bigger sporting event that happened on that day was a boxing match between Emil Griffith and Benny Parrott. Griffith knocks him out in the 12th. Benny would die 10 days later.
Okay.
It was also the first ever sporting event in which slow motion replay was used on television.
Huh. Wonder how many times they showed that punch over and over.
Exactly. Not knowing what was going to happen. It was on this day in 1972 that The Godfather was released nationwide. It had been released like a week and a half ago.
Just in New York City.
And so The Godfather went national.
What do you think the crowd was like for The Godfather on March 14th in New York City? Don't you think you'd have been slightly afraid to be in there with all the mobsters that were probably in there watching that movie?
I think you would have been okay until, near the end. Then you start getting worried.
When Sonny gets whacked, I don't think it would have been a good scene in there.
I do think you start looking around at that point. What kind of crowd we got here tonight? I think next time I watch this movie, I'm going to take in the matinee. On this day in 1974, David Thompson and NC State win the national championship. They beat Al McGuire in Marquette 76-64. McGuire would win his swan song 3 years later. Mark, it was on this day in 75 that the inspiration for Rocky came about.
Oh,
Muhammad Ali
match.
Beats Chuck Wepner. The fight is stopped in the 15th. Ali dominated the bout, but Wepner would not go down. The Bayonne Bleeder, Chuck Wepner from Bayonne, New Jersey, the inspiration for Rocky.
And he would take forever to win that suit against Stallone and finally did get paid out.
Yeah, I don't know why Stallone didn't settle that much earlier, because he had in early interviews acknowledged that this was the inspiration. So, dude, you're not going to win.
Right.
1980, Louisville beats UCLA 59-54 for the title. First ever title for Louisville. Denny Crum over Larry Brown.
Darryl Griffith's about 7 feet in the air dunking right now.
Dr. Duncanstein.
Wow, could he get up in the air?
I love Darryl Griffith. Love those Louisville teams. They had a bunch of Jersey guys on it. Also, in 1980, the ABC Iran hostage program was renamed Nightline.
Wonder how it did.
I heard well. They'd get this host, a full-time host a year later, Ted Koppel. He had a good run. 1986, Jimmy Connors suspended from the ATP Tour for 10 weeks, Mark, because he stormed off the court in Boca Raton against Ivan Lendl. Got defaulted in that match, and they suspended him for 10 weeks for basically being Jimmy Connors.
It's well put, David. That really is well put.
35 years ago today, the first ever Soul Train Music Awards. Janet Jackson and Luther Vandross, your big winners. 1999, this little thing called The Matrix premiered. 21 years ago today.
With a very monotone actor who does every line like this in every movie he's ever been in. People died, man.
21 years ago today, Randy Johnson kills a bird. With a
I'm sorry. It's some of the best video that's ever been taken.
It's one of the greatest videos.
Here's a little factoid, though. The batter was Calvin Murray, the uncle of Kyler Murray.
No way.
You know?
Huh.
20 years ago today, New Zealander Craig Perks chips in twice on the back nine to win the Players' Championship, the only win of his PGA Tour career. That's a good one, too. It's a lot of money. It's a long exemption.
Right.
I mean, that's, if you're just trying to make a living, Freddie Couples, when he sat down with Faraday, and Faraday's talking about, early in your career, what have you, he goes, oh, winning the Players. He goes, the exemption. He goes, oh, that's everything.
Well, and that's when you kept hearing them through the Players. Life-changing. They kept referring to life-changing for some of these guys because of what that does with your exemption status.
2005 on this date, the U.S. version of The Office premiered on NBC. On this day in 2013, FGCU beat San Diego State by 10 to go to the Sweet 16, first 15 to ever do it. On this day in 2017, the Gators beat Wisconsin to go to the Elite Eight. And 3 years ago, Mark, Gronk retires for the first time, and Mike Trout signs the biggest contract in professional sports history at that time, at least in North American sports, a 12-year, $426.5 million extension with the Angels. It averages out to $35.5 million a year. He's already underpaid. And today was the day. Bunch of birthdays. Harry Houdini, Steve McQueen, Mr. Roper, Norman Fell, and Thomas Dewey, all born on this day, no longer with us. Jesus Alou is 79, Pat Bradley 71, Doug Jarvis 67. Mark, the first ever famous person that I remember running into, Ronaldo Nehemiah.
Ooh.
He was a student at this middle school, then junior high, that my mother was the nurse at. Skeets Nehemiah. 1980 boycotted Olympics cost him. He would have won gold medals and what have you. Then he tried to make it in the NFL. Skeets Nehemiah is 63 today. Mike Vanderjack's 52. Peyton Manning's 46. Jason Duffner's 45. Chris Bosh 38. The Undertaker 57.
Oh, my all-time favorite wrestler.
Jim Parsons is 49. It's a young-looking 49. Jessica Chastain is 45. Tommy Hilfiger 71. Kelly LeBrock is 62. What I miss?
Couple of errors and omissions. 164, the Kennedy $50 was issued.
I saw it and bypassed it.
Well, that to me was a mistake.
Okay.
But maybe not to you. Arrested Development's released their debut album today in 92, and the first Van Halen album without David Lee Roth, 5150, released today in 1986.
Ooh.
Got a quick one for you guys. It was on this day in 2013 that the Miami Heat won their 26th consecutive game in a 109-77 win against the Bobcats. LeBron had 32, 10, and 8. Heat won 37 of their last 39 games that year. It's absurd.
And should have lost in the finals in 6. If Pops had left Duncan in the game to grab a rebound.
Yep.
And today was the day.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to Tom Hanks, who did it again. Apparently, there was a wedding in Pittsburgh, obviously there for some reason, and they're doing all their bridal photos. And a guy walks up and says, "Hi, I'm Tom Hanks. I'd like to get in a photo with you." So he does the whole photo with the bridesmaids party. Obviously, it's before the wedding. There's no husband and wife. The husband has no idea this is going on. Rita Wilson jumped in, took some pictures with the bridal party, and literally then they take off. They go to the ceremony at the Carnegie Music Hall in Pittsburgh, where she's standing back to back with the groom and went, "I just met Tom Hanks."
This is only the second best thing that's happened to me today.
You're really going to have to perform tonight, sir. For the bad, we go to the grocery stores where stoners across America are in deep despair because there is a shortage of both Pillsbury dough and Totino's pizza rolls. General Mills, the maker of both, has been unable to meet customer demand. Usually they're there 98, 99% of the time. Right now, it has dropped to the 70% range because of acute supply shortages. So for those of you on Totino's pizza rolls, you will have to wait. Finally, the ugly, we go to Canada, where shortly before noon last Thursday, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police received a report of an armed robbery. A 24-year-old man was arrested after he brandished a knife and then fled on foot. He was at an ice cream shop, and he left on foot after robbing them by knife with a small amount of ice cream. The suspect was located walking down a nearby alley and arrested without incident. No word on what flavor ice cream it was and how long he'll be in jail for. But that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, March the 24th, 2022.
10 hockey games tonight. Lightning in Boston, Panthers in Montreal. The nationally televised game on ESPN at 7 o'clock is Dallas and the Carolina Hurricanes. There are 4 college hockey games as the NCAA tournament gets underway today and tonight. Noon, 3, 6, and 9. I think they're all on the U, I think. So if you're interested, check them out.
Would make sense.
Yeah, college hockey, the U.
They're not going to put it on ESPN and ESPN2.
Oh, no. Why would you do that? Notre Dame, North Dakota at 6 o'clock. 5 NBA games. You know, it'd be interesting if the Heat had to play tonight after fighting with one another last night, but they don't. No Magic, no Heat. Nothing nationally televised unless you count NBA TV, Phoenix at Denver. So basically it. Sweet 16, who do you got tonight? Michigan, Nova.
I got Michigan outright.
I'll go Nova, but I won't lay the 5. Then the nightcap in the South is Arizona, Houston.
I'll take Zona, I guess. They're the 1 seed. I'm taking Texas Tech, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I am as well. And I'm taking the Zags, although I don't know if I'd lay the 9.5.
I wouldn't bet the game. If I were to bet anything in Gonzaga, Arkansas, I'd bet the over, David. It's 154.5. I think both these teams can get to 80.
Well, and I don't think either team really likes to play defense.
Right. That's of all the bets I like the over in Arkansas, Gonzaga.
Trying to figure out whether or not TCU exposed Arizona or whether or not that's Arizona's rough game on their way to. So you took Zona. You know what? I'll take a flyer on Kelvin Sampson in Houston. I don't know if anybody's done a better job in the last 5 years in the sport than Kelvin Sampson, and that includes Mark Few. I mean, what he's done with Houston's remarkable. That program was dead. And then they had the hurricane, and they didn't have a place to play. Remarkable job.
We'll get into all of the Sweet 16 games tomorrow, as well as NFL talk with Pat Kerwin. That's what we do on a Friday to finish up the week. We thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Jim Larrnaaga. If you missed it, go to MillerandMoulton.com or FloridaSportsNetwork.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa